Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled Mayor and Council meeting in the town of Berlin, Maryland. Well, it is Monday, August 10th, 2026. Please join us in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And flags are located in the back of the building, back of the room. We're going to do the moment of silence first. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. First item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes via consent agenda. Motion to approve. I have a motion by Councilmember Orris, second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, let the record reflect that the vote's unanimous. And agenda item 1, the approval of the minutes, passes unanimously. Up next, agenda item 2, and that's a discussion regarding commercial trash collection service that has our Public Works Director, Jimmy Charles, running point. Jimmy, if you will kind of want to set the stage, and then we'll open it up to the folks that are here this evening to hopefully provide some feedback on how we can accomplish this together.
Sure. We've been seeing an abundance amount of trash in some areas, and it's we've been picking up on Fridays and Mondays doing a double service, where the service is really only being paid for one pickup per week. And I just want to bring it to the Mayor and Council's attention and see what we can do to help relieve this situation that's really been a burden on Public Works, and what ideas people have to help us lessen the burden on Public Works and throughout the town.
And then additionally, I believe we've received concerns from folks in town, businesses and residents regarding the use of food waste in containers that may not be designed for food waste. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. And then we had this on a previous agenda item, and the public came forward with some ideas, some of our business owners and things of that nature in and around the area that could be affected, came up with some ideas, hopefully to help us address this together. So if we want to open it up, the floor is your all's right this moment. You can come forward to the table and then let us know what your thoughts are, if there's a way we can approach this together. I send you the hot seat by yourself?
What's that? Yeah, it's all right.
That's not.
I'll be fine with it. So, but yeah, essentially,
we just need for the public record name and the business entity that you represent.
Okay, so my name is Marcus Lopez. I represent 410 Social Eatery and Bar Room. Did come last time that we had it open. I believe it was about a month and a half ago now. And essentially, yeah, just here to try to figure this out. Obviously, I understand that it's a burden. It's a challenge. To be completely honest with you, I think it's a good thing, to be honest with you, because that means businesses are growing. So I do feel like there is a positive impact that it has in the town. So how do you move forward? The trash service, the way we saw it, it's kind of different from where he just explained it now. It seems like that's something that we're discontinuing. That's where we have difficulty with it, because there's a lot of, all the other businesses receive trash service, right? So for us to kind of be isolated is a difficult one to understand. We have looked at other possibilities as far as trash service. There is only one company that would provide twice a week, which we get now. That is something that we're concerned about, because the reality is, one, it's going to be more expensive. That's one. Two is the quality of service we get, because we have spoken to other businesses that do contract private companies. They don't always get pickups. So what happens in the event that we do choose another company to provide the service? Are they going to adhere to us or be as responsive as Public Works would be? Not only that, and the aesthetics of it, we don't really have anywhere else to put trash. That's essentially where it really has to go. Even looking at that, we have purchased a trash container with Bill Outen, and we were able to get a 4-yard container by the dental office there. And in speaking with him, we don't have the ability to get a larger receptacle there. So we'd have to basically and it would take time to search out other people that might allow us that opportunity, which is going to be a difficult thing because then you're talking about accessing a parking lot, which, let's be honest, it's a pretty significant problem in Berlin, parking. So who is going to allow us to access that? But nonetheless, we want to move forward. So to us, the one thing which Jimmy had mentioned was we only pay for 1 day. We're fine with paying whatever is needed. We just want to be treated fairly, right? I mean, if someone is getting 2 days, we'll pay for the 2 days. It's no problem. We'll pay for all the receptacles that we use. To be honest with you, it's never been presented to us. We owned and operated that business, and at no point was any notice saying, hey, you guys are only paying for 1 day. We need there to be a second day. Or, listen, financially, this has just become too much of a burden. It doesn't make economic sense to us. This is what we would need you to pay for this to make sense. It's never been presented to us. So that's all we're asking. We're fine with going forward with paying what is fair. We're not asking for any subsidizations, anyone to accommodate us or get preferential treatment. It's simply we need to do something with the trash, right? We've tried to make efforts, and I feel like that's all. I can't speak for everyone, but we have met collectively. Everyone's trying to make an effort to get on their staff and say, listen, just don't overflow it. These guys have a burden. It's summer. It's very busy. Be respectful. Brandon himself has wheeled over the can to the dumpster, which is probably about 100 yards, to empty some of that just so we can alleviate some of that stress and remove the waste to that dumpster there. So there is effort there. The thing is just we can't operate without having trash cans there. And I don't feel it's fair for us to have to be the ones that are solely looking out for private trash receptacles and paying that cost that will come with that price tag, you know? So I'm not sure what the answer is. I do think that we can come to an answer, I would think, right? And I do think in the long run, it's better for Berlin to have the service provided by Berlin, because who's going to care more about the town of Berlin? You think a private company coming in is really going to have their best interests or really care about how that trash is handled? And aesthetically, like I said, the trash, that's the only place for us to put it. So from that aspect, we can't really do much more to kind of lighten the burden, you know? So we're open to it. We just hope the consideration is given to us and afforded to us like any other business in Berlin. And I hope you guys understand our position on that.
When you say that you yield the trash, first, make sure that it's known. I'm sure you know this, but everybody else should know this as well. This isn't a 410 problem, right? Mm-hmm. This is a food waste being put into containers that aren't really built for that, right? And it's presenting other challenges that are coming. We didn't go searching for this. This came to us, right? Mm-hmm. So now when you say that you've taken the trash from the receptacle and put it in the dumpster, are you exceeding the capacity of your current, I think you said 4-yard dumpster, or is it the trouble getting it from where you are to the 4-yard dumpster?
So some days, yeah. I mean, there's some weeks. This past week was busy as White Marl open, so you can imagine. I bet you we can go through Berlin, and there's probably a lot of trash cans that are packed right now, right? Just the sheer amount of people, the volume of people that come in. There's nothing you can do for that, you know. So to answer your question twofold, yes, you do exceed that 4 yards sometimes. That's why the initial thought was let's just double the size of it, right? So then hopefully that alleviates all of it, and then we even talk to some of the other.
Is this your dumpster? Oh
no.
That's
where is that one?
That's what? That's the one they share.
Okay. Wow. That's the one they share.
Yeah.
Where is
It's in
That's by the
parking lot.
And what? Wow. And why can't you get a larger one?
It's not a property.
well, hold on.
If we get a large one to bill out and
Go out.
Okay, so the antique store and you guys are sharing this. So some of this
Correct.
stuff could be antique stuff.
correct.
How is that handled? Because like when the truck comes, what do they do when they see that?
Oh, I couldn't speak to
Do they
it. I mean,
get out?
essentially, it
How do
has
they
to be in a
handle it?
receptacle.
They would get out.
Is that
They would
private?
get out. Yes.
That's private.
Yes, it's a private Chesapeake.
Are you billed more for that situation versus it sitting in the dumpster?
I couldn't speak with certainty to that.
Because David Fitzgerald was here at our last meeting and said that if it exceeds a certain weight, you're billed more. I didn't know if that's the same. He was talking about the fire company's dumpster, which
Understand?
is similar size.
Yeah,
So
I
why would
understand.
you get an 8-yard dumpster?
It's not our property, so basically the imprint of that dumpster be larger, and they don't seem to care for anything larger than what that is presently.
Who's the owner?
And the four dumpsters they own were full this morning too. So we emptied the four dumpsters, which are those were cracked a little bit, not extreme like we.
Not like that.
Correct. And we emptied Friday too. So we emptied Friday, we emptied this morning, and that was also, that's previous, that's deep on some of these, but they're not. That is what we run into at times though.
So now, can we go back to the dumpster? Who owns the property?
The dental, Lincoln County Dental.
You emptied on Friday
Correct,
and then today,
correct.
and when will you need it emptied again?
At their volume and by Friday again.
So, all right, so I think there was a question about ownership, but you guys maybe know who owns?
I believe it's Worcester County.
Okay,
That land
The dental facility.
county, so
have you approached them about putting a larger dumpster there?
So Bill Outen approached them originally, and I spoke with him about the possibility of getting a larger one, and he explained to me that in his conversations that's not something they're interested in doing.
Let me make sure I'm understanding that the partner in your dumpster is not interested in doing, or the landowner is not.
Landowner.
So if we help maybe with the landowner, not saying we can, but if we tried to assist, is that something you all would pay for?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why
That's
not.
one possibility.
So you split the cost now with other entities, right?
One other.
And what do you pay currently?
Sure. About 200 a month.
200 a month, and they pick up once or twice?
Twice.
Twice,
Pick up that dumpster.
twice a month or twice?
a week.
Twice a week.
And you pay 200.
Now, how much larger?
Then on top of their pay.
How much larger are we talking of a dumpster there? Like, just so I get a sense.
That was like a 4 yard.
That's
When he said he asked about it, but they asked about an 8, right?
Correct. So you get 4, 6, or 8.
Okay.
And
So
then
would a
separate to that,
six
you'd
accommodate,
get
or
a
would
large,
it go to an 8?
I'm sorry,
Would-
I would think an 8 is
Well, I'm sorry,
Is the
4,
one-
6, or 8. This is a 4, you said.
correct.
So you don't think a 6 would work? You would go to an 8?
We'd be here with you again, friend.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. An 8, yeah, with the volume, just to be safe. And that's the idea was too, to also assist with some of the other business owners, right? Because the idea is just to make sure all those cans on the side aren't getting filled up.
Go back to the corner, the corner spot we're on. With this right here, I can't get it out. All of these cans are not 410 cans.
No,
Who?
there's a collection of 6
people
businesses.
So 4 410. There's 3 to the juice company, 1 to Modelify, 1 to Second Wave, 1 to Captain Slice, and then I think the last one is Treaty, which is out front.
and Jimmy, around the corner are the apartments, correct?
Correct.
In that alley, so remember, there's cans down that alley as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
supposedly for the residential.
Correct. And they do stay pretty much residential. There's not I would say there's not an abuse that we see overflow into the apartment cans.
They all share a landlord?
What's that?
They all share one landlord.
Correct.
What's your all's position on, like, is there something you all think that we could do to assist to make things better here?
Our position is that when we applied for the permit, this was the trash situation. Before we did the remodel, the town wanted infill, which we provided, and we have no other land. What you may or may not know is, see the pavers right in front of the trash cans? We own from the paver to the building. From the paver that direction, that driveway is not our property. We don't own it and we cannot use it. There is no way to put a dumpster without that, and there's no way to use that.
Would you be willing to speak to your team to see if they would be open to assisting with our advocacy for a larger dumpster where the current dumpster exists by the Worcester County Dental?
We call the county?
No, I'm saying, would you all be willing to go in with us in support of, hey, can we try to get a larger dumpster here?
I have no reason not to support you. I'm not quite clear what you're asking.
A letter of.
To go back, if you don't.
Letter of support, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
like in the advocacy side of trying to get that dumpster converted to double the size of that, with Worcester County being the landowner, I think if we work together, we might be able to help get them to support something like that.
Absolutely. There's no reason I wouldn't. support that.
Right. To be frank, I mean, they can't like that, right?
No,
So,
that's fair.
if we can, so I had the thought, same thought all along. You know, can we double that? Then we were the roadblock, right? But I think it's going to take a partnership, camaraderie thing, so which we're talking about. But also, if I'm not mistaken, Blacksmith has a can like that from Seagull over by the planning department, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we could talk to them about potentially again. It's just like the cost share thing. We all come together and come up with an agreement to make them not interested in
She's
selling,
not interested.
even if she knew that she wouldn't have any extra cost.
Um,
Because you guys say that this hypothetically, you all would pay the cost.
Yeah, I mean, she's just not interested.
I wonder if
She probably don't have the space in her dumpster. She probably fills her dumpster to its capacity for its pickup per week. So it's not like she's only 3/4 to bring in.
I would say we could double that can. Because we double that can.
I think what we should do
the
is,
same, and these guys pick up that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not whoever.
I think if we can, like Jay just said, if we can get this one converted, then we go to Blacksmith and Justine and say, hey, look, can we maybe have a similar approach over here with this one?
Right. 'Cause I think that sounds good, but I think so. That's be great to get that, but I don't think that's going to address.
I don't think it's still address the amount that they traffic they're in need of.
So Jimmy, you currently pick up these cans twice a week?
Correct.
So
But we only bill for one.
I understand that, but so really twice a week is not adequate. It really needs
Yeah, we're still
3
correct.
times. Would you agree with
We
that?
don't have the staff.
I'm not saying we, I'm just saying,
If we're not getting a larger dumpster, yeah, I would agree with that. So.
right, so if you contracted for service to pick up twice a week and we did it 1 day a week, that work for you?
But they already do have contracted service for twice a week.
Yeah, I'd be fine. So anyone that I've researched, the toters you're looking at, most of them are only doing once a week. The dumpster we can get twice a week, so it'd be a similar situation that we currently have. We could get larger, having the accessibility for a place to put that larger dumpster is what we're in need of. The toters that's a more difficult challenge to get replaced. That would be waste management, and that would be my concern. Really, is I don't want to speak poorly about this. They just don't really have to feel obliged to provide us. If they don't pick up, they don't pick up. And then what does that situation look like? That is my biggest concern. If we go that route, are we just, like passing the buck to just a new set of problems that we're dealing with? And I feel like you just recommended, we'd be fine with paying it. That's what's needed.
I don't think we
We're
have
fine.
the personnel to handle the twice a week. We don't have all the people to accommodate the current 2 times a week.
Yeah.
So the challenge is that if we can help get you all a larger, access to be able to get a larger dumpster, you all put the cost. We'll try to help together with the advocacy work that you utilize that as much as possible. You can
Absolutely.
still keep these, but they're only going to be picked up once a week. And I'm pretty sure we have ordinance against overflowing it. I would say that is overflowing in my opinion.
Yeah.
So if the lid can shut, if it's a little open, we're okay with that, but it can't be super duper heavy and it can't look like that.
Yeah.
You agree, Jimmy? And 1 time a week.
I mean,
And we would try to keep food waste out of those.
So I just have a quick question. What is the reasoning against Go Green OC? And the reason I bring it up is on July 7th. Actually, that's why I've been on my phone. I think I'm being rude.
Check out the list.
Yeah, check out the list too. They posted that they're doing a partnership already with us in the town of Berlin. The Surfrider Foundation, the Ocean City chapter in the town of Berlin, this is creating some sort of garden. But what I'm curious about is I understand that they OC Green prefer to have Jimmy and I talked about this before. They prefer to have a one-stop pickup, correct? So could either of these areas, I don't know what's all involved, but their end, but it could either one of these areas be like the prototype of Ocean City of OC Green for the food waste?
well, then they only want food waste, no paper, no trash, no plastic. it would go back to the
It would need to
business,
be
which they would
separated.
be more on the business then, and that would be more time consuming for them. They would be separating as they're bringing the plates back, they'd have to separate.
I
Pull
think,
one bin and separate.
I mean, Ocean City's had a lot of success with that. I think there's some marketability you all could do if that's something you wanted. But the challenge, we've reached out before to Go Green OC, and at the time, I'm not saying this is what they currently have, but when we reached out, they wanted us to collect the cans and take it to Bishopville. We did not have the staff to be able to do that. We've explored whether or not they could come to the farmer's market, set up at a central location. None of those have worked out yet. It doesn't mean that. I mean, yeah, I mean, Josh is certainly the point of contact and something we can explore. But I think we also need to solve your all trash situation. But then we're always open to that. We just don't have the personnel to be able to assist.
I think that just started out. I didn't know what this was.
Let me just say this, all of us at the council are happy for your success. You made it to town, all the businesses there. So we want to be able to work with you to work this out. So we just have to come up with a viable solution, whether it's you getting another contractor for 2 additional pickups or however it works out. Other suggestions, please bring forward.
So I believe that the town are billing the quarter.
Yes.
Work for the pickup. So that means that we're in October.
That's for one end of the pickup.
So yeah, so it's paid quarterly, right? So that they've made their payment, that takes them through the end of September. So, right? That's my understanding.
Yes.
Let them handle that question. Natalie and Jim, through September, they're good? Okay, but now what we're trying to do as quickly as we can convert this over for the dumpster side, we would like to do that as soon as possible. So if we can, we'll collaborate on the letter.
I'd like to ask a question. I had real trouble with the clarity of this situation.
Okay.
I was misunderstood. I thought it was all food waste businesses based on the meeting we had on the 27th. And I need some clarity on which exact businesses are being focused on.
So we're not focusing on any particular business. We're focusing on a service. So if we have,
So it's not all food businesses with
Yes.
toter cans in Berlin. It's these businesses
No.
at this location.
And it's not even focusing on the businesses, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but it's not focusing on the businesses, it's focusing on the trash that it's creating that's requiring multiple pickups when it's actually only one pickup. Am I correct in what I'm stating? Only one
that's one
pickup,
part of it, yes.
one pickup that's being paid for service wise, but when it requires 2 weekly on top of, I'm not saying this is what it looks like every week or twice a week, but this is a good sense of what it looks like. So it's not like we're isolating a building, because if this were happening somewhere else, then they'd be sitting here too.
And we're not isolating anything.
Yeah.
We originally looked into this particular challenge based off of complaints that we received from surrounding businesses and from the public.
Jimmy, you indicated to me that some of the other restaurants have their own containers. Is that correct?
The Sterling Tavern has their own plans, but they'll have their own.
So you don't pick up there at all?
Even the counterclock has their own behind their building too. The ice cream, we do the ice cream. Their volume is higher during the summer, but then in the winter months, they're back down to, they actually go back down to Kansas over the winter. Again, if it was a high volume through town, we might see an increase at the ice cream place, but it's not, we've never been to the ice cream place and seen this type of pickup. So, and then the rest of the businesses, even like the inn here too. Again, they bring their cans to the street, but they're once a week. There's no double pickup there. So,
And these cans can't be moved. I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody trying to move these.
Our personnel have to.
No, what I'm saying is, they're not being wheeled by 6 a.m. or whatever, like most residents or other businesses have waste wheelers to curb. You guys are literally.
Our staff go and
Getting
pick that
out
bin up
and
and
pulling
bring
this
curbs
down
on.
the curb.
It's a half-hour pickup every Thursday and Friday, or every Friday, and Monday morning. We're spending about 20 to 25 minutes.
Our staff, just so I'm clear, our staff have the responsibility of moving that trash to the street
Correct.
so it can be picked up.
Then we dump it into the rear loader truck,
Then they wheel it back.
and then they wheel it back.
Well, they can start picking up mine and moving mine to the
And
street.
that's why I'm here trying to get a better solution, and we're trying to resolve. You
But
know,
if we were able to get the 8-yard dumpster in the other location, it would help alleviate.
it should help them tremendous. Problem is, you're private there, you also have Barrett's parking lot, you have Taylor Banks parking lot. Maybe there's a communication with them through the other 3 businesses there that they could look at, you know, or we could, so someone could contact and help with this.
But at the same
to
time,
resolve.
If you all are open to the location of your current dumpster and it's a government entity, they're easier to work with usually. So let's start there. But if it doesn't work, then we're going to need to do this again. That really-
And I just think the conversation's reasonable. Like we said earlier, we've never been presented about paying a second time. We never had someone come up to us and we
can't
said,
do the second pickup. Like our staff could not handle that twice a week all the time moving forward.
It's not just a matter of paying for it, it's a matter of our ability to.
We don't have the personnel.
Capacity to do it. And there is also something that you need to be aware of. There's sort of an underlying principle in government versus private, that government should not undercut private business, which is essentially what we are doing. Government should not be competing with private business. Personally, one of the recommendations that I have made for several years has been to outprice us from the market, because we are undercutting private haulers by offering pickup for less than what they charge.
Yeah,
she's not wrong.
There's no doubt. Shame on us. You know, shame on the town of Berlin. You're right. We did. I know we pay for 2 weeks wheelers through a private company. We pay a lot for it. 74.
I mean,
paper.
You know,
So yeah.
very few other areas would that be acceptable, but in trash collection, it does seem to be the expectation. But truly, we are competing with private business, and that is against the principles of government.
All right, I think we've got a pathway, right?
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry.
Certainly,
Because
just
I
name
just-
and business entity for the public record.
Sorry.
Name and business entity for the public record.
Claire Miller, Second Wave Coffee. I just kind of barely became aware of this and spent the last couple of days getting up to speed. And just speaking for my own business, we don't have food waste. So we have coffee grounds that we actually give away a lot of. But aside from that, like we have baked goods, period, end. We sell them or we give them away for, people to take home or what have you. So I'm curious, for a business like mine where really there legitimately is not food waste. I'm just trying to understand, like, is this a food waste issue when it comes to these containers? As long as I can wrangle my trash, if that means getting another trash can or what have you, am I allowed to stay in that spot? I don't think we have any major issues. I mean, it's all like plasticware, containers,
Does
boxes.
your stuff have to be picked up twice a week?
That was my next question. I guess that's where I'm looking for clarity. Are we literally the only building in Berlin in high season that is requiring 2 days a week pickup? I mean, I'm just curious.
Pretty much, yeah.
So nobody
From the town.
From the town.
Correct.
There are many other buildings that have private collection, so we can't speak to.
Okay.
So do you have a designated can?
I do, and if it means getting
Is your
another-
can moved to the street?
No, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, I would do it for you guys.
Yeah, so
No. You're not doing it for us. You're doing it for yourself. And this problem is not food waste, not coffee grounds. It is
The labor.
trash problem.
Yeah.
The amount.
Your business has been so good that you have outgrown the capacity of the town to provide the service for you. And we're sitting here trying to come up with solutions that will put you in a better spot. But rest assured, when it all comes down to the bottom line, the trash is your responsibility and your business responsibility. And we will do whatever's possible to assist you in this endeavor. But it is not the town's responsibility to manage your business waste, and it's not the taxpayer of this community to subsidize your business. Just to be clear. And if these options and this discussion does not pan out, we're going to be looking for you to do something with your trash. And what you determine and what you decide to do is entirely your responsibility. That's just as clear as I can think.
Gotcha.
Are
So,
there any other instances where businesses or other entities are not bringing their trash curbside? Or is this the only one?
So there's another section that's around the back of Mason Lodge.
Okay.
And then there's some apartments that we picked up in the back there that we go by rear loader truck.
Is it possible to have a central spot like for here? We could make the loading unloading zone no parking on certain days from certain hours, and it is because to Dean's point, anybody else, like we all have to take our trash curbside, right? And other businesses do take their trash curbside. It would also eliminate stacking it against the building and making it the staff problem rather than the person creating the trash. They would have to then move that to be picked up, and you would take something that takes 30 minutes, cut it down to 5 or 10.
Jimmy, what is the reason you can't pull your truck in there?
Well, one is private property.
Is that the main reason?
You're not going to look at those wires. You're not going to get the arm.
And it's just not convenient. So it's not easy to load the trash cans off the stones onto the truck. Plus, there's an elevation difference there too. So we would be backing up the curb to the driveway, which would bring the back end of the truck higher. So then as we bring the trash can over, you have to almost be on a smooth asphalt road.
You gotta have 3 feet between the cans,
Well,
the thing to grab it to hold
correct.
it.
But we load, this is the rear loader on this particular stop. We only ever do the rear loader for these pickups.
Because of the weight.
By the town.
Well, just because of we got to pull it to the street and then
Well, there's no reason. If it was a can like that with Councilmember Nichols' distance between them, you could use the arm.
we could if we were to the street.
I believe that the town code specifies that cans must be washed.
It does. Yes, you are correct.
We had that conversation, I think, so I believe you guys about you guys wheeling them out. It was the logistics of the spot. I hear what you're saying too about because the Ocean City, where I'm staying right now, you can't park in this one spot in this dumpster, so it's like till after 11 a.m. Park there.
It's not uncommon.
Right. I mean, so you hear what your guys they're saying. Is that something that, of course, the problem there is getting it out there is one thing, but then getting them back into their homes. Is that something that's logistically possible? Feel like?
I mean, we'll try. It's, yeah, we don't mind trying. I just, like I said, it's just, do we cause more issues?
Well, so
You know,
think
because we'd
about-
have 12 cans lined up there, so then it does disrupt the
Yeah, but
business.
then, and then
Park.
people park their cars back
Well, that's
there.
why you would.
So, yeah.
You know, how does the truck get to them, and then if the car's there,
But now think about it like this too, that like, let's say this option doesn't work out, right? And we need to pick up more frequently, right? Right now, we can't pick up more frequently because it takes 2 people 30 minutes, and that's a lot, right? On top of like all the workload that we currently have. If we have a way to be able to get these cans to the street, they're not overflowing in a spot where the arm can reach it. If this doesn't work out, it might make things a little bit easier. The trash truck comes by, hits it, and then moves on. So we might be able to, I don't think we just need to focus on one thing. We should try to look at a couple different options.
understand.
I don't want to keep us on this all night, but the other thing I do want to say is, I know that someone mentioned the last time we talked about this, farmers market trash possibly being a part of this. Jimmy, can you give us anything? Is that how? I'm not gonna say it's not truthful, but how realistic is farmers market trash being a part of what's going on?
I'd say it's probably realistic. People see a trash can, they put trash in. It's,
Right, but I mean, do you think it's contributing a decent amount to this?
I doubt it.
Most people at the farmer's market aren't walking around with trash bags.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what why I just wanted to dispel all this, because that was mentioned, that the farmer's market trash is going in there. The marketers are not putting their market trash there.
I don't believe so. Maybe once in a while you might get a wild card that throws one in there, but we also provide the cans to the
Okay.
farmer's market.
Okay,
And
I don't want that to come up
Ivy
later.
And, I want to say George, that if they have bags to use our cans that are in the alley staged for the farmer's market. So again, I can't say no to that.
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say that I see a high volume of farmer's market trash in their trash. And if we did, I'm pretty sure Brandon would be, hey, let us know. And I want Brandon to let me know
Yeah,
if he sees that, you know.
well, I just don't want that to be something that comes up later, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you guys looking at like, well, here they are coming down on us, and in all actuality, from May to end of season, these guys are dumping their dumps in our dumps too.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
wondering
yeah.
because I observed it, but since then in the alleyway, I call it Taylor Bank Alley, but the alley is back. There are
Yeah.
a bunch of our cans there now.
Yeah.
Fine. And they're getting used. I believe they're getting used. Don't farmers market.
Correct. I mean, they're actually staged in the trailer. They're brought out, Sunday morning, and they're usually set near the black trash cans that we already have.
Yeah.
And again, we're asking farmers market to use them. They're there. They're always about 3/4 the right to the top bill. So.
All right, I think we've got a plan. We're gonna, Sarah just stepped out, but we're gonna send an email to the commissioners tomorrow, if you don't mind reaching out through your channels as well. See if we can get that dumpster upsized. All right? Yeah, I think anything else for the good of the group?
Is somebody, sorry, also gonna check with Justine at Black's?
We're gonna tackle this first, and then we'll look at that. But it'll be easier to have that conversation if we can say, hey, look at how well it worked here. Let's try that over here. So, all right. Thank you all. We appreciate it. Thank you.
In the meantime, the trash service stays as is.
Through September. Yep. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
All right. Up next, agenda item 3, first reading ordinance 2026-06, amending chapter 16, entitled Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 2, entitled Outdoor Burning, and our acting planning director, Ryan Hardesty, and town administrator, Marion Boland, are going to run point.
Ryan has done the lion's share of this, so I'm going to give credit where credit is due.
So several months ago, there was discussion about the fire pits, and if fire pits were permitted in town limits, our code is very clear. So I decided to work on amending chapter 16 of the fire prevention code, specifically the outdoor burning section. So after I did my, revisions of the code, I sent it to Worcester County, Fire Marshal's office, just because I wanted to get their input and just make sure that what we were saying we want to be, our regulations are consistent with their regulations. And then they wanted to ensure that our regulations or 9 less restrictive than there. So this is the, I don't want to say final product, but it's the product that we agreed on. So if you look at the document, everything with the strike through is the current code, and then everything in all caps would be the replacement. And if you look at my staff report, I've summarized each section with the revisions. So, I mean, this is first reading. I guess it's not looking for discussion right now.
Just by the council and staff. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, first I want to give thanks to Brian and her shop for working on this. Brought it up, like she said, a couple of months ago. And I personally got some questions, and that's why I created the group. And I think you did a great job with your staff report and the revisions. I'm comfortable with your taking the action of restructuring the fire marshal, and you can't obviously have anything that's less restrictive. So, good job, and thanks for bringing it to us.
Anything else from the council?
Yeah, Ryan, I had a question. It pertains to the open burning. So currently, does the county handle those permits, or are you saying now Berlin?
We've always handled them. They sign, they are a signature, and they sign first, and then it comes to the town.
All right.
We give.
Correct me if I'm misunderstanding this, but on page 21 of the packet, section 1623, line 2, it says must be a minimum of 500 yards from any occupied building or public road. 500 yards would pretty much negate anybody in town from being able to get a permit.
So
That's
does three,
open burns.
Right.
That's not fire.
No, that's what I was referring to.
but so does 3, because it says must not be in an area in which the housing density is 1 housing unit per acre.
So essentially, we're not issuing any permits.
I don't think we should be. We should not be doing, we are in a different time than when the code was written.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm just saying I want a clarification on this. Is that the case?
We have only had 2 open burn permits come through our office, and they were large properties. It's not going to be permitted for, like, if you wanted to burn something in your yard.
It wouldn't be allowed.
In like a residence.
Right.
Wait.
I mean, 500 yards, that's like from the hotel to the fire department. That's a long way.
Football.
And this is based on Worcester County's current regulation.
Yeah.
I think my recommendation to the group would be to get away from open burning. Like, there was a time and a place in Berlin when we needed something for open burning. I think the densities changed. I think the landscapes changed. Take your stuff to the appropriate place, not burning it. Now, recreational, completely different, I think.
Yeah, because even with the county, with their open burn, like, you can burn hazardous material depending on what it is. I wanted to take that out. I don't think any of that should be burned or in the county at all.
Can we get consensus up here that the yard waste, yard debris, land clearing debris, and can be added to section 1625 prohibited burning? Is there a consensus on that?
Can't even do it.
I know, but it's better to just add it to prohibited burning and just keep this section 16 focused on requirements for recreational burning.
Do you have a sense on how many?
But it creates a clearer landscape. If we're entering the code now, it's easier for somebody, if somebody says, hey, look, but you allow it, and I didn't realize, I thought it was 500 centimeters, or, you know what I mean? Like,
So what you're, okay, so let me just make sure. So what you're saying is move it under, instead of having it say, listed as a requirement for open burning, implying that there are options to open burn, move it to prohibited burning, just
correct.
There's no way to do it.
And it'll keep all the things that are under section 1625 prohibited burning, but also add yard waste, yard debris, land clearing debris to prohibited burning.
So yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Does that mean section 1623 goes away?
Yes.
Yeah.
And to Dean's point, trash should be added to that as well, but household trash is
Yeah, it
on that.
says it here on 1625. Prohibited.
Yeah, I think.
Can you,
Or do you just say no?
Well, no,
I know what you're saying for section 25, but essentially you're saying there will be no open burning.
only recreational.
Right.
That's not.
Or do you need any of this to say it's open burning?
Hold on. I think it's labeled as outdoor burning, right?
No, so
No, it's open burn.
So the old was outdoor burn.
Might have been, yeah.
Okay. I think it should. Is there a reason we're getting rid of outdoor burn?
Well, you have outdoor cooking fires under, like, at least one area, 1622. References outdoor cooking fires. And then I think there's somewhere that references like, manufactured fire pits or.
Yeah, that's in recreational,
I
right?
thought we were keeping it outdoor burning. That's what it already was.
But here, well, I don't know, because it says Article 2 outdoor burning and it's struck through, which means that that was old and we're looking to replace it.
Oh, that's true, actually. That's a language.
So I would keep it as outdoor burning.
Yeah.
But section 2 would still read outdoor burning.
With the same purpose of the article should be to prevent it in your public.
Yeah, I
policy.
think that Article 2, that needs to be,
Yeah.
that needs to remain.
So keep that whole
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
just alter 16.5.
Sorry, I missed that.
We're going to alter 1625 and
Yard, the things from 1623, which is yard waste, yard debris, and land clearing debris. And trash is in there already.
You have the definition of
Yes, on 1620, right?
we have a definition of open burning, if we're not allowed, I have a definition.
Okay,
Well,
that's
I'm
fine.
going to change the language of 1625 to include the term open burning, which it does now, this amended language. It says all open burning permits, but that would prohibited burning
Okay.
might read the open burning of whatever.
So land clearing debris is going to be out, yard debris is going to be out, yard waste is going to be out. And then it gets us to section 1624, requirements for recreational burning, which we want to keep. And that must be a minimum of 15 feet away from any building, structure, or flammable materials. Must be attended until completely extinguished.
So we're removing 1623 entirely.
Correct.
Okay, so,
And adding the items from,
yeah,
Yep.
it's 1625, and the numbers are all changed, so 1624 becomes 23. And so I can,
Does 1624 need to include language about grills, smokers, fire pits, 55-gallon drums?
but you've covered that under
Okay, that's what I wanted positive on.
16.
It's covered elsewhere.
Prohibit 22. Recreational fire.
yeah, is there, but there should almost be a size limit.
A size limit of what?
But doesn't Ocean City have a size limit on the bonfire? Because I can't go to the beach, dig out a little pit and put pallets on top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think you have to have like, does this say that it needs to have a screen over it? Does it say, because those types of things matter, because if you're going to have embers that are going to your neighbor's roof.
Doesn't say that.
Okay, I'm saying that
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean,
some places do say that you have to have.
You probably have to get a permit through.
You have to get a
But this is for
They
the
come out,
the yard.
they will come out there and look at it.
Enforcing it. Like, I do agree with you that it maybe should have some kind of limitation to size, but.
Well, that's gonna-
It's good,
Well-
it's good to define things so that somebody can't build a bonfire and say, well, you're not
Well,
telling me I can't.
well, and the other thing is, I want to get to the permit in a moment, because at least in our household, like, if we're gonna have a bonfire, right, and I'm gonna take the boys out to go do s'mores, the first thing I do is not like, man, I need to call Ryan to get my permit. So I think that if we can provide some more details about like what we're looking at as a recreational fire, that could be helpful,
Can I
because
help you with your verbiage?
go ahead.
Hopefully, you ain't building no bonfire in your yard to put.
No, I've purchased
Hoping
that
you're just doing a little fire, because a bonfire is.
I have a solo stove.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that is a small recreational fire. It has a screen on it. It has the ability to do a lot of these things. It's contained. I don't light my neighbor's house on fire. That goes a long way.
So the definition of recreational.
And I think we need to change, I think we need to make sure that term
We've
bonfire
got
is
cross.
prohibited.
So, Jack and then should
The recreational fire definition here means a small controlled fire, either gas or wood burning, used for warmth or recreation, not intended for waste disposal. So I think that to your point, you could add something in there as the definition of whether it has this.
yes, and the requirements for recreational burning should reiterate it needs a screen, not to exceed a size.
I don't agree with that. I don't think that it should have, because then you're pigeonholing it. I don't want a screen on my fire pit.
Okay.
And just because, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like going that far is, I mean, we're all going to have the same little ... It shouldn't be that, but at the same time, it shouldn't be a bonfire. Like if I have a fire pit, if I have a 30,
diameter
have 30 by 30 or 30 foot, 30 diameter, whatever. It's not even 40. What's great? If I have that thing, I'll bet somewhere else. Hush. And if I have this 30 inch or foot, whatever the heck you want to call it, inches, whatever. Guys, that's my bedtime. Then sitting in my yard, and I'm out here with my children making a s'more. Now, it's not a bonfire. We're gonna have 6 or 7 logs on here, not a bonfire. So please make sure that we clarify that we are not having any bonfires in the town of Berlin, because a bonfire to me means, and that thing is gonna light some trees.
Well, I think
and all
Steve might be able to help us out. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, so I'm having a bonfire. My family's having one right now, actually. So bonfires.
Man, you are in the wrong spot.
Bonfires will be no larger than 3 feet high and 4 feet in diameter. Must be placed in a pit approximately 1 foot deep.
That, I don't think that applies.
Right, I agree. Yeah, because we have one that's just on the earth. We did what you do
Right.
to make one.
Right.
You put it on top.
And that's what.
It has the enclosure. So
Is everybody up here okay with 4 feet diameter, 3 feet height?
That's really big. 4 feet is that's almost
I think it goes in requirements, section 1624, which will be 1623.
Okay, so it'll be number 3.
Yep.
I still think.
Not that Steve agreed the language, but
this says bonfires may be no larger than 3 feet high. I mean, that's,
material.
4 feet in diameter.
so that could be the, hold on 1 second. Hold on, everybody. We got too much crosstalk. So, Gaskell, do you have what you need for?
Sorry, sure. Bonfires may be no larger than 3 feet high and 4 feet in diameter.
And that is the amended our current 1624 item 3. Now, Barry,
Is that how high you pile the materials, or is that how I plain?
So so they say it also fits on the beach, of course. It must be placed in a pit approximately 1 foot deep.
I was about to say, because on the beach, you have to make sure that you have the pit done. So I mean, Steve, at your house, you don't dig a pit in the ground.
Yeah.
Mine is level to the ground, but I don't use it because we don't have an ordinance. It's just sitting there vacant. So
I don't need it.
stop playing.
So you know where?
But I
Councilmember Nichols, go.
think that 4 feet is too wide. I think 4 feet is. I do. It's 4 feet.
You can
That's as tall as me.
You have a cooker that's more than 4 feet. You know, you get some of these really big cookers.
We're talking fire pit.
I know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not, hold on, Ron, but like, it's not uncommon for somebody to have, if you have a back area, if you have you're talking circumference of 48, that's not that big, really.
You want my table?
Do you know how tall I am?
What?
The conference are
Go ahead, show it, the
This
table.
table is
Yeah.
probably.
That's what I'm saying. But,
I'm 5 feet. I am.
thank you, Danielle. Is that 4 feet?
It's actually a little.
That's not that big.
That's 4 feet, but in diameter.
Because by the time you put your logs in there, your logs typically are not occupying that 4 foot.
Okay,
What's
so
that?
hold on. That's pretty daggone big.
I can light a pallet off first.
That's big. So look, let me show you what logs are supposed to look like.
May or may not do it.
Look, to light a fire, I know this because I'm a Girl Scout.
Go ahead.
You're going to put your logs in here, and your logs are going to be about this big, if not bigger, and they're going to be standing this high going all the way around in this thing. By the time you light that, your flames are far more than 3 feet tall. It needs to be smaller.
I'm not disputing that because the Zach Tyndall that was 18, 19, I would put a pallet on that. And a 4-foot pallet is a 4-foot pallet. Like,
So that needs
But
to
it
be
also
smaller.
becomes an enforcement thing, right?
yeah, but I think that you got to have a place to start. And I think that most people, if the police department, because you guys realistically, Ryan's not in the office at 9 p.m., right? But the police department, you all are likely to respond, right? And if you get out there and you see Danielle's 4-foot by diameter, and you're like, okay, that's safe, that's fine. You're not getting out there with your tape measure to measure the flame. But it gives a point of observation that you can say, if it's now up to the lights, we can all agree that that's more than 3 feet, right? So, look at Ron. Oh, I'm sorry, Ron. Forgot about you, buddy.
Understand that it's a question of safety, right?
Correct.
Things get. How about nuisance? We have a neighbor who has I guess it's, I don't know how big it is, but it's a pavers, he made a fire pit out of pavers. And he throws, all the time, throws stuff, wet wood, depending on the weather. If it's not windy, we have to close our window. We're 100 yards away. If it's windy and we're downwind, we have to close our windows too. I think we need to talk about the nuisance of it. And solos, the times have changed. We have smoke with fire pits. It smokes a little bit when you start it, and then there's none. So I think you need to deal with the nuisance side of things too, beyond the safe. And it depends on who's burning what and when, as to if it's a nuisance to the neighbors.
So it had the nuisance part under open burning.
Where do you have that? Can you reference?
So
Page?
1623 requirement for open burning, the one that we're getting rid of.
Yeah.
Number 5, no hazardous conditions, air pollution, or nuisance. So we should maybe put that under the recreation.
Is there,
I think that's a sentence that you could probably move just about anywhere.
Yeah.
How's a nuisance defined and who determines?
Exactly.
And who determines?
hold on one second. Okay.
Beverly Wright.
Thank you.
I had police last year, I think, smoke pouring into my house all the way up on Main Street, right near there, and back, sure. It was frightening. I talked to my neighbors. Everyone was out on their steps looking to see what's going on. Did contain it. It got tamped down pretty quickly, but it was scary.
What was it? A bonfire?
I don't know what it was. It
Oh.
felt like someone was
Yeah, I think it was
something was going on.
I'm pretty sure
they see things shooting up from the trees. And the only way that's going to ever get enforced is by calling the police. Or the fire department or whatever, 911, and that's what I had to do. So that's how it gets measured. And so maybe 4 feet is too big, but I'm just wondering how you stop people from not cooking food. It smells like food, that might be different.
Well, I was going to say,
So I
some
think-
people might find the scent of certain foods cooking to be a nuisance. It gets into.
Hold on one second. I've asked. Go ahead.
We can't fix this to cure all these issues, but how about, since we're getting rid of 16-23, how about I move number 5 from 1623 and make that number 4 in 1624?
But then we get to Dean's point, how do we enforce it? Steve, did you find a time for,
How do you enforce anything?
Yeah, you enforce the way you do anything. People have to call.
is there a start time?
No,
I'm pretty sure you can't burn while the guards are on.
couldn't do it about these people, right?
So, yeah,
It's a permitted, you have to, and it's only on streets above like 17th Street.
but you can't do it while the guards are on.
No, no.
So 5,
They're done.
I think it's 5 to
5:30.
midnight.
5:30.
Yeah. So what about putting a time
It's
frame?
just to 11.
Because that would prevent
Because we get the
or it would help alleviate the nuisance side of things. That if you put it toward the evening hour, then
I suppose in the winter you want to have it.
No.
You don't need to be out there till midnight burning anything.
okay,
I'm sorry, people. I don't mean to be boss tonight. My goodness.
6 p.m. to midnight. So maybe we tighten ours and it's 6 p.m. to. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel here. So 6 p.m. to. I mean, I don't know about you, Councilmember Nichols, but I've had some bonfires that
Wrap it up, sir.
have,
I mean, no, I'm being serious. I mean,
you're not wrong.
Are you still talking about getting rid of open burning as an allowable thing at all? Because that's what a bonfire is.
Well, we're talking about the recreational.
Okay, but earlier you said about getting rid of open burning.
Be careful.
You don't even know who's out there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Apologize, Margie, you know.
All right. So
Still on the burn.
we are still on burning.
I would like
You
to have
showed up just in time.
Appropriate time.
All right, hold on one second. So 6 p.m. Are we tightening our time to 10?
I think it should be 10. I
Okay.
really do. What time? What time do people? What's the noise ordinance time, Frank?
7.
7.
Hold on.
The reason I say 10 is because that's what time the lights shut off at park. Then it'll be later than 10 o'clock.
Okay.
All right,
Do
so
you think it needs to be longer than 10 o'clock?
I mean,
Take it inside, sir. Wrap it up, take it inside. You got me.
you're right. You are. I mean,
Fire doesn't obey commands necessarily.
what's that?
The fire doesn't necessarily obey commands as to when that can
Well,
extinguish it itself.
If we are out there playing with fire, then we need to play. We need to play with this realistically. If we're going to put out fires to say if we're comparing this to Ocean City, when I get a permit to have a bonfire, and we're not having bonfires in Berlin, but when I get a permit to have a bonfire in Ocean City, I'm required to have all of these things. And I can tell you every single time, and we do this every year, my family does. Every single time that we have a bonfire, they show up. They make sure we have the permit and everything required to put the fire out every time. So if we're going to do this in Berlin, I'm not asking you to show up, but if you're going to do a fire pit in Berlin, you need to be responsible enough to light the fire, and you need to also have all of the necessary things responsible enough to put it out.
All right. So to summarize, in our current section, we're striking section 16-23. We are moving, so section 1624 would contain items 1 and 2, as well as an amended number 3, which would be a 4-foot diameter, 3-foot height, and a number 4 with a time frame between the hours of 6 and 10. Gaskell? Okay. All right. So
Are you moving the nuisance clause down?
is there a need to move the nuisance law?
Yes.
So how do you, okay, yes?
I mean, they just said nuisance.
Yeah. Okay, and then make that our 5. And, yep, I haven't forgotten about you. And then, section 1625 is going to add yard waste, yard debris, and land clearing 3. Right, okay, now, just name and street name, please.
Ed Hammond, South Main Street. Point of clarification, is the code that you're reviewing now the same code that pertains to the burn permits that are issued now under current town regulation?
Yes. It would be Article 2.
Okay, so some of us have a heck of a lot more limb debris and material that they have to deal with. I have an enormous amount of material that I have to deal with. I've been through shippers. I buy shippers and attempt to ship everything I can. But every year I have a very large amount of material that I simply cannot physically entirely dispose of by sending it through a machine that reduces it to nothing. Several years ago, when I first, let me preface this by saying that my family has burned material occasionally in the backyard of my house. My father started doing it with his father, and it probably extends beyond that. So every year we've had a burn or two in the backyard for at least since the 1940s. And it's because of the amount of material that we have that's generated from falling trees and falling limbs. You may not be aware, but there's a large forested area that I own and have to deal with and maintain, right? Several years ago, when I first ran into the issue, because I have always, since I have been in charge of the place, sought burn permits from the town. And I have always obtained them before conducting burn. There is a thing called a burn box, and it's specifically designed to allow one person to periodically go, and it contains a fire. They're a metal square that's maybe 4 or 5 feet square. It stands up 3 or 4 feet, and it's designed to contain a fire. What I wanted to do was buy a burn box. And I went to the town planning department and they said, no, you can't buy a burn box. You can't use a burn box. This is not permitted. If you did it every time that you lit something in the burn box, you would have to come and pull a permit. And at that time, pulling a permit could take 3 or 4 days, or it could take 3 or 4 weeks. They would send it down to the county fire marshal, and sometimes it came back, sometimes it didn't. So I was told that I basically could not use a burn box, that I had to make a large pile. My piles can be 20 feet in diameter, and they can be 7 or 8 feet tall. We've done this for 100 years almost. There has never been a problem. So what I would like to say, well, there's 2 options here that I would like to suggest. One is that you need to have a provision for large landowners who have a very large amount of material that they need to dispose of, and who are already making efforts to try to do that without using fire, because I don't particularly want to do it. I have to, right? Or you should allow persons like myself to be able to buy a burn box and to be able to use that burn box without having to pull a permit, which might take days or anything every time they do it. Give me a realistic option, right? Burning, I would have to pull a permit like 30 or 40 times a year if the amount of material that I have to burn was limited to this little tiny thing, right? What you're proposing would make any landowner in my position, it would place them in a completely impossible position, because there's simply no way to deal with the material, particularly in a year like this when we had a really severe storm in the spring, right? So give me an option that works, right? I'm willing and have shown myself to be willing to comply with the town code. I pull permits every time I burn. But what you're talking about right now doesn't give me any sort of option that's at all viable.
Hey, Ryan, the 500 yards, did that come from the county?
Yeah.
So Ed, in the county regulations, you have to be outside of 500 yards of any structure. You don't have that much.
So District is actually one of the ones that I was referring to that gets a burn permit every year, and the county approves it.
But he doesn't have 500 yards, so he's not meeting.
And you burn up close.
I have it spread around.
I don't know if you've gotten permits, but according to these regulations, it wouldn't be allowed anyway. According to
You
the
can
county.
take it up. You can take it up with the town, excuse me, your county fire marshal, who I know personally, and have talked about these permits with personally. And I provide overhead images, satellite images from Google Maps of where the burn will be, mark the position. You can see the buildings that are nearby.
But to Jay's point, they don't comply with the county's code.
Right.
I'm sorry?
To Jay's point, they do not comply currently with the county's own code.
So again, you can print that over to the county fire marshal.
That's 500 yards from here.
But does the county code actually say?
That's what
That's what I indicated.
And it's
Awfully long distance.
That's a long distance.
I mean, if you want me to cut down forest and to clear a large area that's 500 yards away from any structure and burn the gasoline and the incredible pain in the butt and the incredible, just wasted effort of dragging everything into a pile that's 500 yards from an existing structure, I can do that.
But we're not saying, we're saying to
Why
strike
on
it
earth would you
entirely.
want me to do that?
We're not, we're saying we're in consensus right this moment on striking it entirely. You referenced what happened over
I
100.
knew this discussion was gonna happen. I tuned in online and it was like.
It's okay. But the thing is that you referenced what took place 100 years ago. There's a lot of things that happened 100 years ago, but Berlin has changed a lot. So the same things that were safe to do or okay to do then are.
Knock the house down, Zach?
What's that?
To knock the house down, Zach? I mean, it's not new. It's not a townhouse.
I don't understand how we got there from this discussion.
I do.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
why not work with Berlin Fire Department to do a control burn? Because you say you do this annually, to work with them on scheduling a control burn so that they're present with you when you do this, and that also gives them the opportunity to have that practice site. I mean, because that's what happens. That's what happens with other properties in the county when they want to burn something down. They have to go to the fire marshal to get the permit, and they tell them the same thing. Tie into your local fire department, schedule a time, and then you all get this done, and I give you a permit to do it then. And that way, as you stated earlier when you said that fires have a mind of their own, you have a large entity right there with you to help service this fire so that you can make sure that it's contained. And then, in that instance, we would be compliant, or we would be in agreement with that, because you have the fire marshal, the Berlin Fire Department, as well as town approval, and then your burn can happen.
First of all, the county fire marshal has not deemed it necessary to have the Berlin Fire Department present at my burns, and I believe that he may be more of an expert at controlling fire than you or me. Second of all, in point of fact, when I do have a burn, I've actually, in every case, had at least 2 people who are trained firefighters who were at the burn. And I have actually demonstrated my ability to put it out when asked to. So, with all due respect, I don't think that that's necessary. If the town of if the Berlin Fire Department wants to waste their time at night, you have to do it at night, right? That's when the winds are still. You can't just light a fire anytime. You can't just order a fire to stop burning when you order it, when you want it to stop burning. Oh, it's 10 p.m. You have to go out now. That doesn't work, right? When I do this, I'm typically up until 4 or 5 in the morning tending, right? So if you want to say that I need to call up the Berlin Fire Department in order to do this, I suppose I can, but a lot of things have changed in 100 years in Berlin, Zach, and one of them is that vehicular access to entire areas of town still doesn't exist, right? So, if the town were to come in there and with a fire truck or something, it would be extremely destructive to my property. So, again, if the fire marshal doesn't want to do it, doesn't say that it's necessary, if you want me to call, and actually, you call the county center, and the county center is supposed to alert the relevant authorities before you light the fire. So they know.
All right, let's get to, this is hold on, Miss Marie, we'll get to you in just 1 second, but this is a first reading. I think the council has passed their stuff along to the town attorney and the planning director that we would like to see. There would be a public hearing at our next meeting.
It would be scheduled for next week.
So that is August.
One more meeting.
I think we're fine. But the next meeting would be August 24th. So there's a public hearing at that time. Miss Marie, did you have something that,
I just wanted
if we can do it?
describe as burn box.
I do too.
Yeah, what is the bird box?
You can look, I just was showing you.
It's a large. There are various sizes of. It's basically a metal square made out of like galvanized steel that is of whatever circumference, and you set it in the ground, and it has solid walls that have holes in them to allow air circulation going in. and you pile the material that you want to burn inside the burn box. And
Kind
it
of like
does
a
it
small-
does it in a way that so the fire doesn't spread. I mean, it still can go up, but that's limited by the amount of material that you can burn at one
So
time.
then, okay, just real quick. So how many, generally speaking, if you're gonna have this box and you have these large burns, how many times do you need to fill the box?
It depends on the number of storms in the year, and it would depend upon the size of the burn box. It would definitely be several. It could be as many as 10 or 15.
So
Do
then,
you license that?
hold on one second. So how do you differentiate the property owner? So I'm wondering, and this is maybe a good question for the town attorney. So how do you determine that a large property owner has the ability to burn yard waste, yard debris, and land clearing debris, but yet other residents would have to take? Well, no, I'm just saying, like, to Mr. Hammond's point, he says he's a large property owner and that he has a large amount of debris. Okay, I hear that. But if the mayor and council have collectively said yard debris, yard waste, and yard clearing debris are not permitted in town to be burned, but then you make an exception for a large landowner, why do you not make the same exception for the small landowner?
Because they don't have 5,000 trees.
But I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in our town code, it doesn't differentiate that you get different services than Miss Marie, right? It doesn't do that. Is that correct, Gaskell?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can't draft an ordinance that makes an exception for every possibility and every person.
So, all right. Let's move on. If there's nothing, I think Miss Marie was asking why we can't make an exception, right?
No, I think you just charge him a permit that would require him to, so many times that he could burn. And, I mean, to me, it sounds like just a big fire pit or a bonfire that he's doing with.
He said 20 feet.
Huh?
He said 20 feet.
20 feet. Yeah.
That's what he said.
4 foot.
Yes. Mr. Hammond.
The amount of material can sometimes pile up in a year that I'm unable to ship.
He's not burning.
And again, house like that, we burned for 100 years, and there's never been a problem.
So then Mr. Cassio's point, a nuisance. What defines a nuisance, right? And Ms. Beth said, smoke pouring into my house. Ron said the inability to be able to keep his windows open at night. So what's the defining factor there is what I'm getting at.
Not happening.
But in my case, part of this is the point that I was mentioning before, that you have to be careful and selective when you do this. Traditionally, when I have gone into town and asked for a permit, they say, what date are you going to burn? And it's like a month out. And I'm like, I can't tell you that it's taking a month out. It might be raining. It might be windy. It might be the wind. There might be a gentle breeze blowing uptown. I'm not going to burn it all. I think that's what the answer to that question, from my perspective, is you exercise good judgment and common sense, and you light it on a night when there's no wind, or when the wind is gently moving. In my case, southwest, because there's nothing for several hundred yards southwest that's there to smell it except the deer.
All right. Ryan, Gaskell, both clear on the amendments? Thank you. We appreciate it. Let's move on to agenda item 4, public hearing ordinance 2026-05, amending sections of chapter 28, streets, sidewalks, and certain other public places. Town Administrator Mary Rowland's going to run the point. The first reading on this was Monday, July 27th, 2026.
The ordinance that is in front of you today incorporates the changes that you discussed last meeting. Both a red line copy and a black and white copy are included, as well as the comments. Most of the language that was updated was regarding timing for violations, as well as, or I'm sorry, not timing for violations, timing to correct situations, as well as language regarding the permit fee. I believe everything was captured as far as I know, and Mr. Casper reviewed it as well.
Okay,
Is
let's,
there any particular questions?
any questions for Mary before we open up the public hearing?
Yeah, so one question is, how many actual sidewalks did you repair? Small amount, roughly?
You want like feet and feet, or just,
No, like if you went to front of somebody's house, how many times?
well, Jamie's fixed probably where if he had water meters and issues like that, it could be probably 10 to 12 a year just in fixing like water meters.
But
Those
where,
are the result of work.
but wear and tear, we have not fixed any.
But, there's been a couple areas that we had some money in 25 left over. And there was a couple areas, Branch Street, they were crumbling to the point that stones were falling out.
The reason I asked is it's really a relatively very small problem for the town.
Correct.
And given that, I'm not really cool with this 50-50 thing. I'd rather see the town absorb that cost since it is such a small amount. Just deal with it that way. I don't think it's fair to put the 50-50 on the residents, make them pay for sidewalks on town property.
But
I don't think that's right.
I hear that side, but how do you handle the expense? Like, let's say Walnut Hill was the topic of conversation at our last meeting. We don't have enough money to handle that.
I understand that. So what I would say to Walnut Hill is we'll do it phases, do what we can from year to year, but we will get there.
Then what do you say to the other folks? How do you prioritize that into, like Mary's point, are we going to fund a plan for replacement?
Yeah, I don't think we need to put something in the budget to cover it, but again, it's such a small problem. I mean, Walnut Hill is the exception. They definitely have some issues, but we can work with that community to take time to do it right. As far as 50-50, I'm not there.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I'll comment too. I do agree with you. Listen, I've been thinking about this for probably 4 years. My first meeting was with Walnut Hill, Mr. Glickus, going back. And he told me a story about his wife falling in St. Michael's, and it hit my heart back then. And I know he's worked with Jimmy quite a bit, and we've been working on this for a long time. I hate that we're at the point now where we're kind of not. I personally agree with Jay on the 50%. It kind of never really sounded to me right that it's in our code in the first place, which it was. When we repaired requested by owner, it was there about the 50-50. So, I mean, I'm just saying that I am in agreement with Jay on this, that we have 20,000 in the budget. I would hope that we would phase it, whatever projects we can, and how we decide what projects. That's obviously it's the application that's in the packet. The 50-50 is giving me a struggle. And Mary, you even said it last week. If you're going to put all these parameters on it, I'm guessing the nuisance couldn't be figured out because we talked about it. Not nuisance, hardship.
Hardship.
We talked about a hardship, and I'm guessing it's hard to codify that in the code. So if we're going to face hardships with properties, we know that Walnut Hill has a hardship and that they don't have a reserve account. So I feel like we're going to constantly run into hardship issues, but I also see why it wasn't in here because probably it's possible to codify it. So I'm just pointing that I'm really with Jay on this at this point in time. I know we have a public hearing to hear from too, but
If you're removing the responsibility of the property owner, you're essentially removing his check.
Right.
Am I correct in that?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I want to point out, because I had a conversation on the phone with Ron Cascio about this. It's unclear. First, the town, in my opinion, the sidewalks in Walnut Hill are owned by the HOA as common area. And in their documents, they are responsible for maintaining the trees and planting the trees, which has caused the problem. And I just want to point that out. I don't have a dog in the race. I understand your point. You don't want, town should pay for it. I'm just pointing that out.
I will say that the dog in the race, from my perspective, is how do you decide which sidewalks to start with?
I'm with Mary because we have a lot of sidewalk areas that need improvement. But I mean, this program is not new. Steve, to your point, you said the same thing. I know people that have done this. It's been a long time ago, but I know people that have done this. And the thing is that if we are going to put, without a study, right, staff and the mayor's office, the town administrator, public works is not going to deem or determine what priority level these sidewalks are at. We're not doing that. So if you remove this, we need a mechanism for when somebody comes up to say where they stand on the list. We don't have that currently. So it's either some monetary way, which is what we built this program, the modification of this program around and the budget dollars around, or we fund some mechanism for saying, Walnut Hill, we hear you, but you're here on the list.
That's my concern. My concern is the equitable distribution of town funds. How would those funds be disseminated, and how would they be prioritized? Would the noisiest dog be considered first?
All right. So any other comments? And then we'll open it up to public. Okay. Yep. Let's open the public hearing on, what's that? I would like to. Oh, yes. So opening the public hearing on ordinance 2026-05, amending sections 28, streets, sidewalks, and certain other public places. It is now open for anyone that would like to comment. Just come forward, please. I know that we've not been utilizing that mechanism, but come forward, street name for the record. Anybody that wants to go first?
Come on, Mitch.
Great.
Yep.
Marie Dillon, West Street. I have many questions. Is the violation issued with no warning to the person? Do you give them a $100 fine immediately?
There's always a corrective action with a due date on it. We'll never just issue a warrant or a violation.
But you're giving them a due date. You're not telling them ahead of time that this is coming. So basically,
If the enforcement officer finds a sidewalk that's in disrepair, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they give a letter saying your sidewalk is in disrepair and it has a due date on
okay, whose determination is this?
it.
So you can determine this, but you cannot determine who has bad sidewalks. Is that correct?
So the program's not just around the planning department identifying bad sidewalks or safety challenges that exist on the sidewalk. That's not the whole program.
What's the whole program?
The whole program is that if there's a problem with the sidewalk
And the sod, and the apron, and the driveway.
If there's a problem and you want to fix that in front of your property, or that it's been a safety concern identified by a development, right? And you come and you say, hey, look, we want to fix this. That's what's happened, right? That's why this is in front of us. And now we're looking at, okay, how do we appropriate those dollars? There's an existing policy. And what's the town share? What's somebody else's share?
But she can go and say.
That's one possibility, yes.
So why wouldn't that be a priority?
The planning department would determine that, hey, look, this is a safety issue, and reach out to the property.
Okay, do you have standards someplace that tell us exactly what you're going to be looking for?
Not necessarily standard, but
I'm not picking on you. I just want to be very clear.
Safety, if it is shifting.
Do you have pictures that you can show us that we know what we're looking at? Right.
For one, we have pictures. I mean, there's been areas we went photographed. Then we show that it's an inch difference. We show that it's not the proper incline decline. There you had areas where the whole side of the sidewalk is crumbling and stones are popping up, and it's just becoming a hazard to walk. Creating trip hazard.
But Ms. Marie, too, like, this is the public comment to the mayor and council on the ordinance that's in front of us. It's okay to ask a couple questions, but you can't just pose the staff. You gotta keep your comments focused to us on what you believe we should do about the ordinance that's in front.
Okay, I believe that you shouldn't have the ordinance.
Thank you.
Personally, no, I'm not done. You have financial thing here where if someone is not current on their bills, their property tax, which you have taken their property and given nothing back for it, and still expect them to pay to maintain that sidewalk, that if they decided that they were going to put up a block and say, this is my sidewalk, it's on my property, what are you going to do? What can you do? Is that a violation? I mean, this is really absurd. And I don't care if it's been around for 100 years. You obviously didn't care what was around 100 years before. You spent a lot of money appeasing your commercial people and their trash. I'd like to know how much money you took of taxpayer money to do that. I mean, really and truly, this is absurd. You're taking taxpayer money to do one thing, but you refuse to pay that taxpayers' money for stuff in front of their house that isn't theirs. And the other question is, in here it talks about if there's a safety hazard, you can require someone to put in a sidewalk. Where have you done that?
I don't know if we have an existing precedent of doing that, but it is in this document.
So what would be the standard for that?
I've only been here for 10 years.
Well, that's long enough to know all this.
Oh yeah, of course. 168 years in history, 10 years.
It has nothing to do with it. You're talking about right now. I don't think this is funny.
I don't find it funny either, but I'm saying that I can't possibly know what has existed in the town of Berlin since its inception in 10 years of time.
But this is something you're trying to approve.
In 10 years of time, I don't have an instance that comes to my mind where we have said, property owner, Miss Marie, we deem your house to be a safety issue, put in a sidewalk. I don't have that in my memory. Do you? No. Okay.
So what standard would you use for that?
Well, it's defined in here.
No, it's not. It doesn't tell you. It just says a safety hazard.
Okay. So there's.
Well, what does that mean? How could you, what keeps you from declaring all of the people on West Street having to get a sidewalk put in because it's a safety hazard for the people to be walking down the street? What stops you from doing that?
Well, Mr. Gaskell, we don't own the property.
Don't own what property?
The easements that exist. So historically, right? And Councilmember Nichols, Councilmember Burrell, you might be able to speak to that, how sidewalks have been installed in other areas of town where easements didn't originally exist. So you talked about this during the last meeting. Do you want to talk to Ms. Marie about how that occurred? The town didn't say, Shanika Nichols, we determined your property to be a safety violation. You pay to put the sidewalk in.
It wasn't necessarily a property per se, as it was a safety concern, and it was needed on the street.
And did you pay for it?
Did I pay for what?
Did you pay for the sidewalk?
No.
No. So, I mean,
Yeah, but this says that person will have to.
it doesn't say.
It does.
New sidewalks, section 28-172, not new sidewalks for public safety. A, whenever it is brought to the attention of the code enforcement officer of the town of Berlin, the property abutting on any public way in the town is in need of a sidewalk to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the town. The code enforcement officer shall conduct an inspection to determine if a sidewalk is necessary. B, if it is determined by the code enforcement officer that a sidewalk is necessary, they shall serve notice to the owner of the property that a sidewalk needs to be constructed. Such notice shall contain a minimum of the following information. Item 1, description of the area and the location of the sidewalk. Item 2, a time limit specified for the construction of the sidewalk, which shall be for a minimum of 120 days. Item 3, an explanation of the owner's right to appeal the decision to the Housing Board of Review within 10 calendar days from the date of the notice and the procedure for filing such an appeal. And then there's section C. Such notice shall be served, and then they strike this, by regular
Mail.
Mail to the last known address of the property owner or agent as recorded in the real estate assessment records and by posting a copy of the notice in a conspicuous place on the property.
Then if you go to enforcement, it says in the event that a property owner has failed to correct the hazardous condition or to construct a sidewalk and failed to file an appeal with the Housing Board of Review within the time limit specified, the code enforcement officer may order the construction of the sidewalk, repair or replacement of the hazardous sidewalk, driveway, apron, or sod, or portion thereof, that is in an unsafe condition, and shall proceed to obtain cost estimates and engage a third party, and then that property owner is charged. And they're not even eligible for your 50/50.
They are eligible to seek appeal of a decision if they deem that appropriate to the Housing Board of Review.
But if that goes against them, they're still required to do it. This is a ridiculous thing, and it's got to be, I want to know what can be done to change it. That's what.
Anyone else that would like to address the mayor and council regarding ordinance 2026-05, just come forward, name and street name, please.
Beverly Wright, I live on Upshur Lane. I have to say that I agree with Miss Marie the entire way. First of all, you can't have people individually putting in sidewalks all along West Street. They'll all be different. They won't comply. I don't even know what the easement is. My street does not have sidewalks. What's to stop? You know, do we need a sidewalk? We're back street not in a neighborhood, not a main street. But someone could claim there was a safety hazard there. What are we going to tear up all our lawns and put in different sidewalks for every house? It's crazy. And I don't understand, is Walnut Hill the only HOA in the town of Berlin? So how come, I've lived in HOA and condo, I don't understand why they don't have a reserve for sidewalks. You can't just not have a reserve. That's an HOA problem, a serious one. But there are so many areas in this town that don't have sidewalks. And so far, no one's gotten killed, but West Street somebody's going to get killed, that's for sure. And the way people drive, we all know that. And yet we cannot put it on the homeowner. It says it right here, the whole thing will be billed to the homeowner, not even 50/50. So I'm just saying that I agree with her 100%. Living on a street that doesn't have sidewalks, that could come down my way one day too. That's all I'm going to say.
Anyone else that would like to address the mayor and council regarding ordinance number 2026-05? Come forward, name, street name, or entity that you represent.
Ron Cassio, Walnut Hill. Just to clarify, Mr. Gaskell and I did have a conversation. That doesn't mean we agreed on who owns and should maintain the sidewalks. When we developed our neighborhood, we turned the streets, the sidewalks, and the curbs and the planting strip over to the town. Let's just get that straight. Okay, well, we can discuss that if you like. But in general, if everybody has to get their own sidewalk and their own contractor and all that stuff, it's just a very inefficient and ineffective way to do anything. The sidewalks are public use, just like the streets. They should be the responsibility of the town, not individual property owners or homeowners associations. This is just a very ineffective and just a really bad way to get this done. We need to do it. I understand that. I understand the funds aren't there at present, but it's just the wrong way to go about dealing with the situation. Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to address the mayor and council regarding ordinance number 2026-05? Name and street name, please.
Ed Hammond, Main Street. I have just a brief comment. When this issue came up, I heard the sentiment from a couple council members who said that this matter really should be the responsibility of the town, and we shouldn't go through this sort of cost-sharing kind of difficult discussion that we're doing right now. And I'm pretty sympathetic to that. And what I heard in response, but I will say, Ron is my dear friend, and I have no idea what the legalities are that he's talking about. I also think that when the town takes over
obligations that belonged to HOAs, that we need to be really clear about this, that we have been left a legacy by developers that was inadequate. And now it's costing all the members of all the taxpayers in the town money to clean up the mess that was left by a developer that had an inadequate roadbed, inadequate sidewalks, inadequate drainage features. And when we take that on and we say, okay, well, we as the town, we're going to burden all of the taxpayers with the money, to pay to fix this mess. We got to be crystal clear that, those guys did the development and they walked away with the money and they've left us with bills. That should always be head first in the conversation. But going back to the issue at hand, in response to the council members that said that this should really be the town's responsibility, which I agree with, the reply that I heard was, well, how would we possibly prioritize what, who, what, when? We can't possibly do that. That's what you guys do all the time. You prioritize the big town dump truck to go steal people's property instead of, buying, a drainage system, right? Don't laugh at me. You did. It is literally true. But in any event, but that's what you guys do. You are constantly making decisions about allocating the public's money and deciding what the priorities are. The one reasonable objection or the one reasonable comment that I heard was Mr. Burrell's, and he said, well, it should be done equitably. I agree. It should be done equitably. You'll have situations where there's going to be, competing demands, and the demands are equally compelling, right? So you do have to, make a decision or make an equitable allocation there. But to sit here, Mayor, and to say, oh, we couldn't possibly sort out the different, priorities of the demands. That's the entire thing that you do in the budget process. That's something that you do every day. So don't BS me with that. I think that the town is entirely capable of taking this responsibility on, and the town is capable of developing a reasonable system of oversight to prioritize the allocation of funds in an equitable way. That's what your job is supposed to be. Don't stand up here and say that you can't do it, because you do it every day.
Anyone else that would like? We got to keep the ball. So, anyone else that would like to address the mayor and council regarding ordinance number 2026-05? Can we keep it
Real quick, I would just like to correct my dear friend.
I think you two need to sort that out outside of here.
He said something in public that we went away with the money. We did everything.
That's between the two of you. Stop. That is not related to the.
That was a general comment.
Okay, thank you. The two of you need to work that out outside of this venue. Thank you. Anything else for ordinance 2026-05? Okay, seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing, and we're going to open it up to discussion among the council.
Well, I just want to say that before today, during the day, I received some emails from residents expressing their opinions on this, as well as hearing the public comments here. I just want to be clear, basically, what has been suggested. That I think everyone understands, but we're out there in TV, social media land. Should this ordinance fail, it kind of makes motion 2026-46 moot. And effectively, we're saying the town of Billings will be taking oversight.
Right.
I just want to be clear.
No, that's true.
Is that not true?
No, because the original ordinance as is would still be on the books.
Correct.
Okay, so then
You would have to do a separate ordinance to hold.
Yeah, we have to have a new ordinance which strikes the entirety of that part.
Okay. Well, I agree with Jay, Steve, and the people that have spoken, and the residents who reached out to me personally before this meeting. And also just reading this myself, I did have some concerns after the adjustments and the recommendations from last week. I just can't have good conscience vote for this.
Jack has had residents reach out to him, and I had residents reach out to me with the concern about how would this process work. who would be favored? Who would get the big part of the stick? How would I be treated? As long as it's equitable treatment, I don't have a problem. But if it's gonna be just a random decision of who comes first or who comes second or who makes the most noise, I have a problem with that. If there are standards set aside that's gonna prioritize property owners' situation, property owners' condition, property owners' criteria for being a part of this thing, I would be in favor. But not until those standards are set and are being implemented.
Like Vice President Morrell, I had somebody stop after our last discussion that said, what happens if I work at night and I can't come up here and complain about my sidewalk? How are you going to prioritize mine? So, I mean, we have to have a pathway. I think that through some of the public comment, it was, we already do this. We do this on a macro perspective, right? We say dollars coming in, tax dollars, shall be appropriated in this way through a public process. We don't say that Miss Marie's sidewalk gets paid for. We don't say that Mr. Cassio's does not in our budget process. We don't do that. We allocate dollars and cents broadly, not individually.
So just real quick too, as an idea, or as an idea, longer term, should this go through, perhaps we can develop a process in which we're looking at district-wide. It's like 1 year is 1 and 3, then 2 and 4, or however that might work. And then we would also have time to prepare for the needs of that district potentially in the following budget year.
Well, we don't pave streets that way.
Well, we have to start. Okay. We said earlier with the new policy, it takes a long time to turn a ship. And that's what I believe that we're doing here in the town. We're taking on newer things that have been in existence. Both of these codes tonight so far were from the 90s. We have to start somewhere. And I hear EP Burrell, I understand those concerns, and I hear them. But I'm not sure that not taking them over is the right way to go. And then we can develop the process.
So let's look for some clarity here. A minute ago, we just said none of us, and I'm going to say we're all in agreement that we're not for the sharing of the load of these sidewalks. We all feel, well, many of us here feel that this needs to be a town priority. But if we vote tonight that this become a town priority, many of these pieces of this ordinance still exist, correct? So this whole section right here that was just read about the property owner and their responsibility, was that, for clarity, was that part an existing piece or was that an additive? So again, if we were, so Dave, clear this up for me. If we were today to say, no, we don't want to share the load, the burden between the citizens of the town and the town, and we say we don't want to do that, that part of this ordinance is still on the books.
But it could be the council wants to act. I can probably at the next meeting have a draft ordinance which takes care of what you're.
Well,
You would be starting over though, it would be a first reading.
Right. I just wanted to make sure that that part was made clear, because if we said no, that still existed. You all understand that, right? That part did. So just making sure that the citizen and the council understood, if we said no, we don't want to share the load, that part, without us making some kind of verbal, you want to remove that part out, would have still been there. You guys get that part too, right? Okay.
And what we would do, would probably straight through perhaps the entire article and then just do a paragraph where the mayor and council proclaim that sidewalks are the responsibility of the town of Berlin and make it subject to available funding.
And then you're gonna get into the process of what you and you and Ron are arguing about, not in a bad way. We get our legal advice from you, no offense, Ron, but he's the attorney. And if he says that you own that stuff, we then have the challenge of how do we handle taking care of something lost on private property.
I'll have to.
I'm not asking you a question. I'm not asking you a question.
I'll have to draft the new ordinance with the understanding that town is responsible for sidewalks abutting town streets.
Well,
Whether the town owns that property or not.
Exactly. Well, and Mr. Gaston, that takes us all the way back to the statement I made 2 weeks ago when I talked about HOAs and these things that we tend to inherit from these HOAs. We as a town, need to do a better job of looking at what it is these HOAs have in their bylaws. Like, we need to truly, and Ron, I'm not saying this to you, but I'm saying it period, especially from a person who has read HOA documents when I left education for a minute as an insurance broker. Literally, we had to make sure that not only the new people who inherit the HOAs, but people that the towns that they're a part of understand what those bylaws say. And I know that you know because you live there. You've been there since its inception. But in many of these instances, these folks who live there, who are part of these things, they don't know because they've only been there since whatever they moved in. And these bylaws are before that. So I think that we as a town, before we accept anything from anybody else further, we need to understand and flip the bylaws completely. Like every single part of it.
Well, the problem is, and I don't want to get off topic here, but the problem that the town of Berlin has with many of neighborhoods that are subject to HOAs is that the HOAs aren't active.
Exactly.
They don't meet, they don't pay, maintenance fees.
But that's not, to Vice President Burrell's point, that's not on us.
No, I know. It's going to become that.
In order to avoid it, the town has to do a better job, particularly at environmental planning, and ensure that when development happens, the proper drainage, roadbed, and other conditions are imposed on the developer so that we're not in the position of inheriting inadequate infrastructure. It's a chronic deficiency in the town planning department that is fundamental. I agree with some of the other things said, but I believe that it's fundamentally at fault in this kind of situation.
You're not wrong.
Dave, one question again for clarification. If I develop a property, have several homes on it, and institute an HOA, and I build everything to town standards, the town is not mandated to take over those roads. We can say no.
There's precedent for stuff we have not inherited. Correct, Jamie?
Right, which then leaves it HOA. Okay.
All right, so where do we go from here, folks?
Well, you need to call the ordinance.
Well, I mean, the next thing is for you all to decide how you want to. Yeah, I've already done that.
Yeah, you need to call the ordinance. You need to see if there's a motion and a second. And a vote.
Yeah, from these.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where do we go from here, folks?
Close that.
Well, we closed the public hearing.
No, but I'm saying you have to close the process.
Oh, yeah, they got to make a decision.
I don't think there's going to be.
So then there needs to be a motion on the table.
Somebody needs to make a motion to deny.
To table.
Okay.
Or table or deny.
I'll make a motion, we deny it.
Yeah.
And then we can
Figure out where we go from there.
the next meeting.
Can I just say one thing? Like Shanika's been saying, the existing ordinance stays in effect. It seems like there's no cost sharing, that the homeowner is totally responsible.
Yeah. No, that's not. Yes, the existing ordinance has a 50/50 cost. Yes, it do.
Because I've been trying to read.
There's clarification of the language.
Should there be like, or maybe like.
Well, that's.
Like, don't do anything until.
We've never.
Know that no sidewalks get cited for the next 2 weeks. Can we throw something in there like tonight?
Hold on, let's see where the council's going.
Can I suggest to your motion
Yeah.
that your motion is to deny and direct the town attorney to draft language to repeal.
To draft a new
Or
ordinance.
new ordinance to repeal the vote.
Does that do it?
That's what you want.
But is that the right thing?
I think direction and do it.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is to strike down ordinance 2026-05 that's in our packet.
It is to not take any action.
To not take any action.
No action on it.
And at town attorney.
To develop
That's a
new
separate, that's a separate.
But if you want to do it separately.
Separate.
Okay.
Clean it up.
Then
So,
I'll second your first motion.
so the first motion by Councilmember Nur is to take no action on ordinance 2026-05. Second.
Much different than shooting this down and denying it.
Well, if you're not taking any
I would
action, you're not
table it.
moving it forward.
But I would
So
take
it dies.
So we're done.
If you're taking action by saying no, that's why we have no.
Yes. Make a motion to deny. I make a motion.
You can't, we have a motion on the floor.
So we have a motion to
I already
take.
made the motion.
So what exactly are you saying? You're saying we amend the motion to say we kill this ordinance?
No, you don't.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, what are you saying?
I'd use better
We're
words.
making a motion to deny the passage of this ordinance.
So, but I mean, I'm not an expert in Robert's rules, but I'm pretty sure the motion would be to table.
No,
Yeah,
it
because-
implies that you're
No,
bringing it back.
if you table, no, if you table it with a return date, if it's coming back, you're just tabling it and it's gone.
I just think.
Okay.
I think you should.
Either way, you all don't want to do anything with this, right?
Correct. So
Okay,
that would-
I got a motion to not do anything with this. I got a second to not do anything with it. All in favor of letting 2026-05, as we have written here, go in a filing cabinet and never come back out, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, there you go. Passes.
And I would rather
Sorry, man. I don't know how to write that up, but.
deal with
Action.
And then, all right. Any other motions?
Yeah.
Okay, Meg,
No, Dave said he doesn't make a motion to draft an ordinance.
I'll take your correction. I'm
No, correct.
I'll prepare
the mayor can.
I will prepare an ordinance to repeal.
Thank you. In your research on that, I would like to know where that puts us, right? So if we repeal that, that just leaves sidewalks in limbo, right? So you gotta come up with a
I'm gonna
permit.
repeal everything that's existing, and I'm gonna add a new section that will address sidewalk going forward.
Okay, but what you present needs to have some, data that supports how many sidewalks will the town be taking ownership of? Like that we currently don't have ownership of.
Oh, we're not taking ownership.
Okay, then clarify what.
The town is gonna take responsibility to the maintenance and repair of every sidewalk flooding a town-owned street.
But now maintenance, as in, because the reason I asked the question, because it comes up every winter, right? And
Right, snow.
correct, yeah, it's just something that falls from the sky. Our public works department is not going to shovel everybody's sidewalk. So I think that maybe next meeting might be a little too early. Put your head around it, think it through, and then we will bring it back.
I think it's like structural repairs.
I think
Compared
it's,
to safety.
let Gaskell and the team kind of work with what that looks like, but I think next meeting is gonna be a little too early. Yes.
How do I proceed in identifying areas,
You don't.
sidewalk?
You do not. Nope. Until we get some clarity on where things stand, you're not going to go prioritize, you're not, nope. We appreciate it, not yet. Okay.
The council will give part of the guidance out of this effect.
We need to do that.
That's.
That would be great. All right. Up next, agenda item 5, items for approval. Before each one of these are action, there will be the opportunity for public comment focused on the item for approval. All right, up next is 5A, motion 2026-46. Can we get a motion to table? Yeah, but you still gotta do something with it. We're gonna just, it's there.
It's a motion, I think you can just.
Motion to take no action, Councilmember Orr? Okay.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Green. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I think we have public comment on that already. Up next is 5B, motion 2026-47. approving RFP 2026-07 Bottle Branch Sewer Lining. Water Resources Director Jamie Latcham is going to run.
Third,
Thank you.
I'm seeing
7 o'clock.
to do all the bids for lining of the sewer main, coming from, Bay Street to the wastewater treatment plant, before they do the Hudson Branch Stream Recreation, to get this proceeded and completed before they're doing that work in that area. We budgeted $300,000, and we'd like to proceed forward and get our bids and do what we can.
Thank you. Any questions for Jamie?
What's the longevity of this process?
Well, considering that place probably 1940, probably make it another 40 to 50 years. A lot of towns are doing a lot of lining due to restoration, a lot cheaper. We won't disturb hardly any of the blacktop. I know a couple towns around us have succeeded in stopping, a lot of I&I, which is infiltration and infiltration in water. I'm not saying that is the problem here. I'm looking at the integrity of the pipe. And you're actually adding the 15-inch sewer main, you could be adding like a half inch to the whole inside of it. So you might be producing it to a 40-inch pipe, but you're looking at the integrity. I've seen them take excavators and sit on top of them and they don't break. So it could have easy 50 years, and it's a lot safer and more cost effective.
On a pipe that's well past its useful life.
Well past.
Any other questions for Jamie? We're going to open it up to the public. Okay. Any comments from the public regarding motion 2026-47 Model Branch Sewer Lining? Okay, so I have a motion by Councilmember Orris. Second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, let the record reflect the votes unanimous with all council members present. And motion 2026-47 passes. Up next, agenda item 5C, motion 2026-41, the approval of town hall renovation furniture. We have myself and architect Danielle Haley running point, and it picks up on. Thank you. 51 in the back. Danielle, you want to kick us off?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor.
Sidewalks?
Yes, I want to talk all things sidewalks and trash. I kind of pared down the presentation tonight because when we were here last, I think you saw all the pretty pictures, asked us to go back and try to value engineer this furniture. The reason it was tabled at the last mayor and council meeting was because what we thought was maybe the step down, or what our furniture vendor suggested would be a step down, actually came in higher because we were getting such great pricing on the Technion. They presented it to us. I said, well, I'm not going to go back with a higher number furniture. So we tasked them with finding a third option. So that's what you have in front of you, and that's what's in the packets. That being said, we are still recommending the mid-price one, which is the Technion. And I'm using Technion. There are other brands in here. Technion is predominantly the desks that we're talking about. So you can see that we did bring down the art and design package. I think it was Councilmember Orris who had recommended utilizing donations, lending, artwork, and things like that. So that number significantly reduced from $25,000 down to $16,500. And then we did look at a lesser chair for the conference, or for the conference rooms, I think, in general. So we found a chair that was, again, a step down, so that resulted in a reduction in price across the board. So that was because that was a different brand. The difference that we found between the Technion and the 3H, which are really the two that, I'm sure you're looking at now, is the way that the Technion warranty is, the way they assemble the furniture. It's steel construction versus more like particle board construction. It's just a heavier duty, which is probably why it comes with the better warranties, because it's built to last. One of the things that they talked about was, because these are sit-to-stand desks with those monitor mounts, they all have dual monitor mounts going up and down. The other ones have been noted to be a bit wobbly. The desks, we're strictly talking about the difference here is between desks in the 22 offices. So again, why we're recommending the Technion, just because of those quality control things that I think, will stand the test of time, frankly, in the renovated building. I'm taking a risk here, but as I was sitting here listening to all of this, I was looking at some of the quantities of our breakdown, and I do think there's a couple of extra chairs and things that are in there that we do not need. I did the math quickly, and I think there is another probably $5,000 worth of savings. I'm just going to put that out there and go back to our vendor and say, I think I counted them over and over again. I think they had a couple quantities incorrect, and that could have been a result of maybe they were looking at an earlier plan, or maybe they were adding extra. We don't need extra. We don't want extra. We want to, output what we need. So I feel confident in that going back to them, this number, either way, with whichever brand we went with, I think there is another $5,000 of savings we could find.
Just to draw the attention to the nuts and bolts between
Technion and 3H is the other brand.
A $21,000 difference over 27 spaces. You have here less than $800 per space for increased quality, durability, longevity, and
ease of use. Yeah, and that's just like the ability actually for a staff member to pull it up and down. It's just all these different things. I'm sorry, it's power operated, but for it to go up and down. And I will say that, I put that line in there because we are talking about a large volume of spaces. It's a big number, I know, but it is 27 spaces, and that's inclusive of conference rooms and individual offices, and then like admin, assistant office desk areas and things like that. So that's where the 27 number comes from.
Any questions for Danielle?
Yeah, I'll just kick us off. First, thank you to the art design package. I appreciate it. What is council chamber seating -box?
Box is just the name of the chair, the style of chair. Sorry, that was for my own.
And I also see down here that PH, I'm call it Triple H, is offering below Omnia pricing as an incentive, and the town of Berlin is able to use the Omnia purchasing contract.
So their contract, I think, with Omnia has expired. So they have to go through the procurement process again, where they would be actually on the contract, but they are offering as an incentive that they will match that original Omnia pricing. Correct. They're the same. Yeah. That is reflective of that pricing.
Well, I want to thank you. You did what we asked and came back with different numbers. I have some thoughts, but I'll wait till colleagues in public hearing. Is it public hearing?
Nope.
Oh.
It's public comment, but not a public hearing.
Well, then I'll just go ahead. So I'm looking at the Triple H, the 213, 928, and 60. I'm just going to round up 213, 929. I do think that we can still, although I appreciate the work you did, I still think we can drop the 16.5 art and design package. That will bring that down to 197,429.
So I don't want to interrupt you, but can I just clarify a little bit about the art and design package for those who maybe weren't here when I said it before? That is not purchasing art. It's not, we're not going and, soliciting commissioned artwork. It is to take the existing artwork that we have, the existing photography we have, digitize it, enlarge it, mat it, frame it, and physically mount it. So they are going to physically deliver and install that. So it's not just, going to find sourcing artwork. There is some labor involved that professionals that will handle these, pieces of history that I think we want displayed in the chambers and hallways and things like that.
We would have costs associated with that and labor associated.
Yeah, it falls under the furniture, but it's not really furniture. So
That's something we could get a grant for, Arts Council.
Maybe.
I don't.
Because you're dealing with old pictures, right?
I don't know where you're going to find that, but
what you're dealing with is town history.
Right. Well, and the only reason I wanted to clarify that is because I don't know, if we strike it entirely, I don't know what we'll have, what to do with those pieces.
They would probably sit
sit in storage.
Yeah, what we've had before, and where you and I looked at them together, I think, all these old pictures. I'm like, I didn't even know Dr. Bowen was a council member. He was my school principal. I had no clue until I FaceTime Dean and I say, Dean, what's this? And they're all sitting collecting dust in like half broken frames, things that aren't preserved, you can't go back and take that picture. So I think preserving that and presenting that.
So when I'm hearing Danielle say the things that were already there, and you're saying these things were, where were they? Where were they?
We found them in the back of a closet when we were cleaning things out.
Yeah.
Nobody had said, hey, look, our old council pictures are back here. So.
And Danielle, what resource are you looking to use to preserve these things?
So this is presented from our interior design team that is contracted, as a part of the renovation. This was part of their scope of work to handle this. So they have their own subcontractors that would handle that. I'm sorry,
Lose when we cut the roughly 9,000 out of the art and design package.
any new pieces. So she had included finding additional like filler pieces where they felt like they needed, there wasn't enough. Yeah. So those I got rid of. I said, let's get rid of that, to Councilmember Orris's suggestion of maybe we can get things on loan, maybe we can get things donated. I think that's a great idea, but there is going to still be a cost associated with, even to the point of they're mounting them with security hardware and things like that. So I didn't mean to cut your thought. I just wanted to talk about that design package before you struck it.
Okay. So I just want to, that brings that down if the group decides to go with that as an option. That brings it down to 197,429. And I'm not holding anyone to this, but I'm going to include you a lot less 5,000. So that's another 192.
So I should clarify, the 5,000 was Technion pricing. I didn't have the individual breakdown in front of me here, but let's say, somewhere in there, a few thousand. Yes. What I would look, and Mayor Zach, you can help me with this, or Mary, maybe if we can approve it up to a certain amount and just knowing that it's going to be less.
To approve the recommended price.
Right.
Well, first of all, just for clarity, right? Well, hold on, just for clarity, when we started this, what were we at, Natalie? 305,000? Okay. So and the group said, hey, look, try to do better, right? And we took that as far as we could. Danielle, her team, everybody we possibly can, took a $305,000 number down to $237,000 and some change. If you were to build, I'm going to go back to it because some people may have forgotten, the police department with 5 admin spaces and some cubicles, 1 conference room and a break room. You have 27 spaces, including 3 conference rooms. You all toured it. 3 conference rooms, 2 break rooms, 2 break rooms, and a council chambers, and 228,000, I think, would be to outfit your all's building now in present dollars, and we're looking at $237,000 for good quality furniture. When I was at a national night out, I had some folks come up to me, not in the town of Berlin, but with government entities, with the county, and you know what they said? It's foolish to buy cheap furniture because it will fall apart the day that you're bringing it in the door. The one thing the county did well was they purchased good quality furniture. Our furniture is still lasting. I would just say that when you're hearing that desks wobble with 2 monitors, that was your point, putting 2 monitors that wobbles. You put a 3rd monitor on there, it's going to end in Danielle's lap. And you got to think about, for $20,000, you're getting good quality furniture with a nice warranty. And when we took this to the vendor, the reason we had to go back and postpone another meeting, not because time is of the essence. We need to order this furniture to have a furnished town hall when it's done. We get this Indian furnishing because it's a lower tier. That's where we went, and it comes back more expensive. We can nickel and dime it every day, but come on, man.
Yeah, I think one of the things I didn't want to do is reduce quantity. So
with that savings from 305, thanks for the extra 5,000. That is a change delta of 112,571 from the 305 originally put for furniture.
I'm not following that.
Not Art Deco. Well.
Oh, you deleted the Art and Deco.
Well, no.
So what I'm suggesting is that taking out the art and design brings it down to 197,429.
What are you taking out and where?
I'm looking at.
Oh, you're looking at 3.8 triple. Okay.
I'm sorry.
3H.
So 3H, that brings it down to 19742.
Okay.
Possible additional 3,000. But without that, and with the 5,000 of the 305 originally put in, my math is a little off. It's actually a change of 107,571, which could be focused elsewhere in our budget. So now, when I say this, because I don't want this to turn into Jack is anti something, that is not the case. I am just looking out, hearing all of the sides, and trying to figure out the best way to balance it all out for everyone, including the residents.
So, wait a minute, hold on, go back for me. I'm seeing,
But you have cheapened it cheap. And I understand what you said about who you're looking out for, but who are you actually looking out for? Are you actually looking out for equipment that's gonna serve us over years, or are you looking out for those people that just have a problem
No, see,
with this and that?
respectfully, that's what I was, no. Natalie, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Put me on the spot.
Okay. But in your experience thus far with chairs, when you purchase a new chair, how long does it last?
We go for chairs like me, I can tell you, especially in the customer service area where you have to get out 50 to 100 times and sit down. The chair that I have in my office, I'm going to myself, is about 8 years old right now. And I'm not purchasing because I'm hoping for a better chair. My back hurts, my neck hurts, and it's squeaking that everybody can hear down the hall. And pretty much every office is like that. What I'm trying to also bring up here is putting me on the spot. Yes, we will be saving. Yes, we will be reducing. How long is it going to last? And we're going to end it up going shopping and purchasing. I don't know if you've looked at the difference between the Triple H and the furniture that was proposed in the previous, the pictures and design and etc. We're getting bare minimum for that reduced price. It's basically a metal leg, a desk. There is no storage space. I don't know how I'm going to fit my 2 monitors in that desk. So what's going to happen, I'm going to try to modify that. I'm going to accommodate my needs. I would like to have a thought monitor. We're going to go to Staples, purchase some, hold my monitors, and we're going to look like hot mess.
And probably spend more.
So we haven't seen anything in 3H. Anybody else?
We have. They're comparable. Yeah, no, and yes, and
Very, very fair.
the style is very, and I agree. And I intentionally didn't share them because they don't look as good. But we didn't want this. This isn't about the look of them.
We're at nuts and bolts. Right?
I can absolutely share with you. I was looking at functionality.
I'm just saying that it was said that I have no idea. I've done my research on 3H. I talked to a government that uses 3H for perfectly fine.
Right.
It says, I've put it in 5 different AIs.
Mm-hmm.
It says that it's very good, especially for government education. It says that Technion is mid to premium tier and that 3H is valued in mid tier. So I'm just, I don't know what it looks like because it was chosen not to be shared with us.
But
I don't know how
To me, it is very similar, actually. It just, okay, sorry.
But you're saying it's very similar, then.
Okay.
Looks wise.
Hear me out though. Like we wanted, because the question came to me: do we prepare a whole other fancy presentation, or do we focus on the numbers? And I felt that what we were focused on is what are we buying, what is the cost, what is the cost difference. Not presenting a whole vision for Indian furnishing, a whole vision for Technion, a whole vision for 3H. I think that's kind of a waste of time.
That's
People
fine,
are appear to be focused on dollars and cents and longevity.
I just can't say that what Natalie is saying is correct.
That's
or accurate in my
But is it necessary, Steve? We have a professional someone that does telling us or recommending to us what to do. And you have heard testimony of what we have now that is not working for us. Why are we going to go against our expert?
I don't look at it as that. I mean, I understand that. It's no disrespect to her. I've told her that. It's no disrespect to the value of the employees either. We wanted it lower, and it essentially really got lowered by $6,000 because we cut the art design. That was $9,000, but that was an ask that we asked for. And then, so really, the difference between tonight and a month ago is $6,000.
That's not true, because what was approved was 305.
And 305, we fault that part.
But
We
that's
fault
not,
that really hard.
but hold on.
Because of this reason.
But accurately depicted, the approved amount was 305. The savings is the delta between 305 and 237,000 and some change. It has been a good exercise. I think now we have hit the point, like Vice President Burrell, I think is saying, where we are nickel and diming over longevity and workability.
And are we really saving?
No.
Are we really saving if we buy 50 chairs and in 4 years we have to buy 25 more? Are we really saving?
The chairs are the same as Technion.
The chairs are
desks are
The chairs are the
different.
same.
I don't know what the
We
desks
kept it. And the reason we kept the chairs, again, respectfully, I heard what you said last time. The chairs were something that we had staff sit in them. We went through all the functionality. They felt like it was the important piece, the chairs. So we looked at desks pretty much and we did look at those other task chairs, reducing those. So, I mean, the exercise was we went from last meeting to this meeting to the 213, that's being presented, the 3H. I think that is being presented to you. I'm just saying professionally and my team, really it's their expertise because furniture, thank you, Councilmember Burrell, but furniture is not specifically my area of expertise. I have to rely on the consultants that we're using. They felt so strongly about this. They were like, what can we do? What else can we cut? So to your point, I'd rather cut that art and design than the staff's functionality and the durability and the replacement. So we are talking about now the decision, in my opinion, between Technion and 3H is $22,000, whether we reduce $5,000 off both of them. It's $21,000 between the two. So there is $21,000 kind of hanging out there. But to Natalie's point, what's the replacement cost? Again, I'm not saying 3H is going to all fall apart, and it's brand new furniture. Yep. And I think it's just like, to your point, it's one tier down. It is. I mean, and it does look generally the same. That's why I didn't share it. We were not certain. Certainly, I'm happy to send it to you. We're not trying to hide anything. Functionality wise, they all would have storage. They all have, they are more bare bones though. They really are. I mean, if you look at them, they don't have the wire and cable management. They don't have the big modesty panel. They look kind of like this table versus, something a little bit solid, but didn't want to make it about what they looked like.
Tell me this part. Technion, okay. You said appearance wise, for the most part, they look similar.
They look similar.
Technion
looks better, but that's not what this is about.
Right.
It's more solid. Yeah.
Right. But, and you're saying that 3H, the Triple H, is going to be the guy who has fewer features, right? It's not going to have the modesty piece. I'm saying it louder because a couple of people aren't hearing you.
Right.
But at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm completely clear. The modesty piece isn't going to be here. Maybe a USB or whatever is.
Yeah, it has a modesty piece, but it doesn't have, it's just like a bar that goes across. It has T legs. These are called T legs. Those are appearance. But the wire, you're right. You're about to hit on this. The wire management, no, that is different. You're going to have wires hanging when it goes up and down. It's not as.
But it still has the functionality.
It does. Yep. Sit to stand. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I wanted to make sure that we talked about that part. But I also, when we go back and talk about, I have true feelings about the art and design package. And I know that it's lowered from what it was, but where we are right now, the 16.5, You just spoke on it, and I know you said the change in price, so the change you just said was the change that was already done, right? As far as if we were gonna make a change anywhere, it would have been the change in art, and, because you just stated that, and I want to make sure we got that.
He was saying that the reduction in the art and design.
Right,
When,
if we're-
when
we would've-
oh, hold on. No. When she was presented with the challenge, right, of making the numbers go down, that rather than sacrificing the quality and durability of furniture, she went back to her team and said, look, let's take Councilmember Orris's idea, do away with the acquisition of any new art, stick purely to what is funded and provided by the town.
That's what I was saying. That's exactly the same statement I was making before you both said that. But that's what I was understanding what you were saying, because I didn't need anybody else to get it twisted, that what you were saying right now was, if we're talking about making a change, that you would say remove this. I want that.
Favor what?
See, that's where I'm.
But that's not what she's saying.
That's what I'm clarifying, sir. And I'm not raising my voice, but you keep cutting me off from saying what I'm saying. So what I've said was, when Danielle made that statement originally, when she was talking about making a change, she meant the change that came to the table today, not making an additional cut.
Agreed.
I want to make sure that these ladies who are trying to hear understood that part. That's where I was going. I didn't, and when you spoke just now, that's what changed what she just understood as to what was being said. So I wanted to make sure I was clear.
You are, yes. Yeah, I am not recommending cutting that out any more than we did before I brought it, than what we brought to the table today. Correct.
So when it comes to preservation of this, and I mean, I'm all about preserving and keeping the thing, but when I look at, and I love that it's been dropped. I came into this today in my head, ready to drop it more. But when I'm hearing you say the items that are here that we're looking to preserve are items that have been stashed in a corner somewhere and you want to maintain and bring these things back to life, I don't want to water that down or downgrade it as anybody is saying in this space. But is there anything else that can be done with that?
I mean, I think that's what we've done.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the feedback I took to our team, and I had them go back and actually watch the meeting and listen to what was said just to hear the ideas. And that's how, I mean, I think that was a significant, they went from 26,000 to 16. That was a pretty big jump. And I mean, I'm sure, yeah, if we tell them it's got to be 10, it's 10, but they're going to only do so many pieces for us. And then we're going to be on our own, you know, it's a quantity. I mean, it's a number of pieces of artwork that's attached to. So
I guess the only thing when it comes to that I originally, my thought was when hearing this was thinking art and design was not just, we're just putting up art, but I thought originally that this was going to be similar to how it's done at on the county level. You know what I'm saying? But where they take the photos that they've done of pieces that are on their premises and enlarge them. But you're talking
this is including enlargement, scanning, framing, matting, mounting.
pieces that we already have.
Yes, correct.
That are artifacts, for lack of a
Correct. So like, here's a really simple example. We have the mayors, is it the past mayors or the past councils?
Yeah.
They're all odd sizes and in different frames. It's like normalizing what's the appropriate size. Is there going to be, you know, every year is there going to be room for more, and making sure that it's consistent and they can continue to, you know, in that tradition. And it's not like somebody ran to Dollar General and got I mean, I've done this for in other places, got a frame, hung it on the wall, you know, and they're all that's kind of the design piece, I guess, if you will, is finding the appropriate scale, finding the right, you know, locations and things like that. But, you know, that's already part of the design. I don't really even like that term in there, but the design is already paid for as part of their contract. This is more the actual installation.
So I really like the idea of what you're trying to accomplish with the artwork, you know, preserving those old photos and whatnot. However, because it is, they are historical photos and it is a preservation issue, I think we can find grants. So whatever proposal we decided on, I really would scrap that until we can find money through grants to do that kind of project. And I think it would be easier because I'm sure what it is. So I think that 16.5 needs to come out from either proposal. I do want to point out, I hear what you're saying about the Technion. If you drop the 16.5, it brings that quote down to 221,000. So you're really looking at a $23,000 difference between what Jack came up with for triple H.
Yeah, it's 21,522. Yeah.
$22.74.
Yeah.
27 spaces, less than $800 per space.
And that's what I did on the second page. I did take out those things that were normal across, so you could see the difference.
Backed by a limited lifetime warranty. So that doesn't imply the Technion warranty is better than the other.
So they do have a better warranty because they have, and again, I'm going to read through this. They have I think that the thing that she was explaining to me that was better is that they can be retrofitted versus a whole replacement. So their parts and pieces are warranted. So if, say, the power function, fails on the Technion, they can come and replace that. If it fails on the 3H, you're going to buy a whole new desk. So those were sort of, and I might be, again, oversimplifying it, but
there was also whether or not things can be repaired on site.
Right. They have a refresh and refurbishment program, so they will come and actually, swap out pieces versus, again, whole, Natalie's out of a desk for a week while, or whatever, she has to move offices. Again, I'm oversimplifying it. Not saying 3H is not great I'm sure it's great furniture. The team thinks Technion is a better buy for the Omnia pricing too that we're getting. I just want to remind everybody, this is like half the price of what it would be if you went out in the open market. So there is, we are getting nicer furniture for a significant cost reduction. But either way, no matter what we strike from it, the difference between the two is 21,522. So.
And how many times in the projects you've done buildings like Town Hall have you used Technion?
I have not.
Never.
No, I haven't. But our consultants have many times. Yeah, that's why they feel so strongly about it.
Can I interject with something? If the pension is, I just suggest consider leaving it. In my personal opinion, it's better fit in the office space. Better looking, it's more functional, it's more sturdy. Let's cut down on chairs. And get cheaper chairs. And you replace them in the future more often, but
it doesn't make sense.
The comparison between
But from a value standpoint, it doesn't make sense. It just kicks the can.
I understand, but I also hear everybody's concerned about the amount of money invested and the desks if we go in with 3H. It's open space. It's wired.
But our job, Natalie.
It's not, we live there 8 hours a day. It's kind of like, it's not organized to the standard of being in a nice, comfortable office. 8 hours in a beautiful town hall with Ruben and Steve up to the environment. It's basically what you're looking at, that kind of style.
But Natalie, hold on. It's like what the vice president said. We have done our job, right? We have been tasked with a $305,000 expenditure and bringing something back that is less. We have done that time and time again. We have been tasked with selecting high quality, durable furniture that will stand the test of time and limit the reoccurring costs for the taxpayer. Now it's time for the council to do their job. Plain and simple.
But I just don't hear the act.
But that's not our job. We have done our job. It is now their time to do their job.
And also perspective of the team, like my team, and whole team, when we hear this discussion, for some reason feel that we're not kind of like, why we're not worth of getting a nice furniture.
Well, I have a hard time with that one, Natalie.
It's not about that.
No.
It's not about that.
No.
It is about high quality, durable furniture that is for the test of time, that is not going to nickel and dime the taxpayer for years to come.
Yeah,
that is what that's fine. You all have your opinions. That is fine. But that is what she has presented. That is what she has said time and time again. Now it's your all's turn to do your job.
I made a motion that we approve Triple H with removal of the design fee of $16,500.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Orris to, I would love to, yeah. All right, can we open it up to the public regarding motion 2026-41? Yes, ma'am. Just name and street name.
Beverly Wright, Michigan. I came in here kind of mocking the art and design project part of this. And after hearing what she said about where these pictures were found, how valuable they are. If anyone's ever tried to frame a poster at the framing shop, it's over $100. Just to put it in a magazine. Who would do that? I would, because it was very personal object. If we can get that art and design package out of the Technion part, it's not going to come down under 200, but there's no doubt that Technion is going to be a better buy on the furniture. But if we can still come back to somebody for an art and design project to take care of their needs, if we can't get a grant, whose job is it to find a grant? Is it Ivy's job? I don't know. But you're sending somebody on a mission to find a grant for something that's really not that expensive. When you look at the value of those photos, and it's all going to be in one package. So I don't really care if you vote to take out the art and design project part of it, if we can get it back later somehow, pay for it later. But to let that artwork go is very bad. But the more important thing is to stick with this better furniture. So while Jack's about to make a motion about this cheaper furniture and the art and design package, I would oppose that and re-vote on Technion without the art and design for now. That's
And just for clarity, they have been broken out. So Technion is just the furniture. And then they've done their due diligence. Art and design is separate. It's not affiliated with
it's
that.
part of this bottom line.
Right.
It is because it's just added all together. Like if you look at this box,
Full bottom.
so if,
That's what I'm saying.
but I mean, they can be carved out, but just so you know that the art and design is not through Technion.
Oh, I know that.
And then the chairs, the council chairs are not through Technion.
Well, whatever. The stuff under Technion.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Furniture.
Yeah, I have it all under that Technion, but
I'm just saying, if
you
you're
understand.
looking at this, except for carving out this or carving out that, stick with the middle of the Technion final. And maybe do the artwork later, that's fine, but don't let it go. Be prepared to come back and maybe face a $20,000 bill because it's not part of this package. That's the only difference. You don't know what they'll come back with if it's not part of this whole discounted thing.
Thank you. Anyone else hold on, keep it open for public comment for just a second, then we'll go to staff. Name and street name, yes, please.
Marie Dillon, West Street. I couldn't hear what Natalie was saying. Can you speak up about the furniture you were talking about?
I was just in favor or asking for a favor to keep the Technion furniture because it looks a lot more function-wise adaptable to the office versus the 3H. And when I was saying that if we are on the path or the road, cut out a certain amount of money, look at something else, look at the chairs, but don't cut tables.
You don't have a lot of storage, do you? That's something I saw in the plans, and to me, planning and zoning needs storage. I'm sure you need tons of storage. All of you have files that you could have, and I didn't see any place for those in any of the design. Am I wrong? Pardon?
None of the rooms have closets, so.
Right, so you don't have closets and you don't have filing cabinet kind of situations. Where are you going to put your paperwork?
So to answer that, we do have the desks have been configured for, you brought up planning. There are specialized equipment in this package with Technion, all of them really, that are designed for the different tasks that people do for like planning, right? There's a separate planning storage area in town hall. For finance, there's storage areas, but then there's also built into the furniture, the file storage and stuff that they need. So that is factored in. What we're looking at is predominantly quality and durability.
Right. I've been talking about desks, but this includes desks, credenzas, file storage, towers. It is all encompassing. I'm calling it desks, but it is a whole office solution for each individual staff member. And there are storage rooms throughout the building for longer.
Not in their office.
In their office, there's robust storage solutions being offered by either of these companies.
Well, I think what you said about the chairs, I just wondered, if I asked any of you who have an office, how often you've replaced your chairs and you've paid for it, I think you get a pretty clear idea of how long chairs last. And I know I was in the town of Ocean City for 23 years, and I can't remember ever getting a new chair. So that's something to keep in mind, you know, when you're talking about lasting forever. And they did not spend $400 on a chair. They didn't spend $300 on a chair. And we were up and down, and we did all the things that you guys do. I mean, we weren't just there. So some of this stuff is inflated, I think, as far as usefulness.
I mean, I also worked for the town of Ocean City, sat in plenty of office chairs that had broken arms, that had duct taped arms, that didn't have the casters on them. We actually had a graveyard for all the chairs that were broken. And they did buy new chairs pretty frequently.
I never had it happen, and
I mean, 2 town of Ocean City employees, formerly, both of us,
I don't
with
know.
different experience. I worked at every firehouse in Ocean City.
Well, the fire department's a different animal.
I'm just telling you, I went through my fair share of death chairs.
Because they get money that wastewater that.
I'm just telling you. All right, open it up. Yes. Sarah.
Alluding to it already, is there a way, instead of just saying there's a grant money for that, especially because the town of Berlin does not employ a grant writer, if you could make a caveat for that to say that if you can't find grant funding for it, that it can put that in. So that we don't just say, we're gonna find grant money for it and do that.
Yeah, we don't have anybody to, like, we're open.
Not that I mean, I can try to work on that. I don't have, a lot of experience or art stuff and stuff. I'm sure that I can work at because that's not either of our, there isn't one person that does grant writing. I just like to remind you all of that and thinking about important things to attach to it. If there's a way to, if you're gonna cut out the art and design package and say that has to be grant funded, if you can't get it grant funded, is there a way to attach it in for pending?
And like the timeline with it, and to Ms. Wright's point, if it's going to change the cost, right? Like that's some information we would need as well. So, hey, look, we would like you to source a grant for this. It'd be helpful if you could find said grants and say, we would like you to apply for this. And then, if by this point, if it's going to cost us more money because we're going to have to go do it ourselves at wherever, then we execute this, price. I don't know, but let's see where any more public comment. Okay. Now, can we get action by anyone?
Well, I had a motion.
Go ahead. Go ahead. What's your motion again, please?
Oh, it was.
I'm sorry, can you speak up?
Yeah, it was, the motion was for 3H minus the 16,500 art and design.
Okay, so there's a motion by Councilmember Orris for the 3H furniture minus the art and design package.
I'm really torn on this. What you saying?
This is where I stand. I mean, I'll say, I want to second this. I truly do, because this is exactly how I felt about this before I came in here today. I mean, I went through and did all the things. But when I think about, again, this part, I don't want to lose the photos. And I know some people are like, oh, pictures are just pictures and they're whatever. And I don't want to give a job to somebody else to say, oh, you just go and find a grant for this. But when I think about it, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to put anybody in a position to make this happen. I know that we have a friend in the Taylor house and they preserve things regularly. I'm not saying that we need to give this to them as a job to do or even request that they help us do that. But at the same time, I think about that as, ooh, I don't know what to do with this $16,000 because preservation is something that I'm key on. I mean, with the way in which we're living in these days, having a piece of something to represent, to show that we really are who we say we are, may go further, because that's just where we're living in this country. But at the same time, Mayor, you stopped me when you said when we talked about design and all the things. I need to say this because I wasn't here when we talked about these things before, and I need to say this because I have to say this. I'm not leaving this building tonight without it being said. The decision that I make today when it comes to this furniture is not based on anything personal. I know that every entity that works for the town of Berlin, you guys do a stellar job. You do things that some people in other municipalities do not do. I've traveled throughout this entire state and others, and many municipalities will say the things that go on within their town are ludicrous and outrageous. I can't necessarily say that with the town that I work in. I can't say that those kinds of things happen in the departments that work for the town of Berlin. A lot of people put a lot of things on you all to do. I don't want you to feel that the decisions we're making are based on how we personally feel. That's not how I personally feel. But at the same time, part of the job that I can sit here and say that I speak upon is I want to make sure that you all have what you need to do your jobs. But at the same time, these citizens in this town depend on us to make decisions on things. Well, like we just made some changes a moment ago in regards to sidewalks and whatever else. Who maintains and where does that come from? In my mind, when I thought about all of this, and I've been losing a little bit of sleep thinking about these things, if we were to tighten a little here and tighten a little there, then there would be a little room to move some things from one spot to another, to earmark, to make some things happen, so that yes, we may not have the Techion tables, but the difference could go towards the town maintaining sidewalks later in another area. And I know that somebody's going to say, but Councilmember Nichols, that's not how this goes. I'm telling you how I thought about this. So before I vote on anything, I needed you to know how Shanika Nichols felt. Don't say anything, Mayor.
I was waiting to see if we were done.
Don't say anything. I'm serious, because tonight you've been cutting me and contradicting, and I love you with everything in me. But you've chopped my words 10 times today.
Okay. Are you finished with?
I am.
Can I want to just share something that we're working. No, I haven't heard one yet.
No, I said so.
I could try to strike a balance. Because I do hear everything, and I agree with Councilmember Nichols said. This has nothing to do with valuing employees. I feel like I've showed in my 4 years I value employees. So I'm going to try to make a motion to go down the middle here.
I think you
Can I
need to vote on Councilman Forrest.
I missed a second.
I thought we did it die.
But hold on. So hold on. I did not hear a second. Councilmember Nichols is saying she said
I
a
told you
second.
why it was there. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
if it
apologize.
dies there, it dies there.
Well, no, it needs to be voted on if there's a motion in a second. So there's a motion by Councilmember Orris, and there's a second by Councilmember Nichols.
But he
To
can offer
vote.
an amendment.
Can we clarify what Councilmember Forrest's motion was?
The way I understand it,
The
it's
3H
3H minus R.
which brings it to a total of $197,428.62.
Okay. So now, are we voting on that motion in second? I think we should.
If it has a second.
Correct. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, so the motion
Fails.
fails
Yeah.
with Councilmember Orris and Councilmember Nichols in favor, Councilmember Green, Vice President Burrell, and Councilmember Nur opposed. Now, Councilmember Green.
So we'll try another shot here. A motion to approve Techion, reducing the art and design package to $10,000. Whatever they can do, $10,000. That's what I would, the motion would be. So I don't have a total number because of that 5,000.
I would like to have firm total just to get it.
Okay, that's
So, okay.
not to exceed.
How about we do not to exceed? Because
Right, that's
I feel confident that there is about $5,000 there, but I don't.
I think I can.
We're going to do exact numbers. I don't.
237 minus 10.
Well,
I'm pretty sure I can do this. Well, minus 6,500. I guess I can't do this. So minus 6,500. Jay and I can do this.
Clear on your 5?
I feel really good about it. But I was doing it by hand, and I want to make sure that
I was taking it down to 10,000.
Take it down to 10,000.
6,500 and possibly about 5,000.
But that's going to be a Technion.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
Or a chair saving or something. That's an unknown.
955.
say that again?
225
No.
951 136.
Now that takes out the
That is
5,000.
the numbers coming from the yellow highlighted Technion. 237.
Basically, or right. I can break my calculator.
Minus 5
It's gonna go in a
minus
motion.
65.
It's going to go in a motion.
Let's just 5, 4,
Oh, she thinks she can get a break on the chair.
Yeah, but hold on. So
Sorry, Danielle.
I was looking at the quantities while earlier in the meeting, and I think there was a couple of extras put in there. It was a couple of quantities of things that I think maybe were wrongly represented. Again, this is provided to me by the consultant, and that's all my fault for not checking that sooner. But I was just doing some.
Real quick,
So now-
the chairs we're talking about, the chairs we're referencing that you may be able to make the difference in.
It
are
isn't
those-
just specifically. It's different chair. It's several chairs. It's task chair. It's several chairs. The quantities.
Various chairs.
And even, well, just say chairs, because there was a couple monitor arms too that I think there was 2 extra, but I just want to double check those numbers. But I do think there are a handful of extra chairs that, again, may have just been included because they thought they'll go in a storage room. We don't need those. I'm speaking for them.
So I'm looking at a not to exceed of 225,000.
Correct.
No.
So we have a motion by Councilmember Green to approve Technion, all this entire list, minus the reduction in art and design, taking it from 16,500 to 10,000. And that's a reduction in $6,500. So the not to exceed price for the motion is $230,951.36. And it's got a second by Councilmember or Vice President Burrell. We're hoping to realize another $5,000 in savings, but that's unknown at this point. So that's the motion. That's the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. What's the
All-
difference? What is the difference between 305 and whatever this motion?
All opposed, hold on.
$6,500.
No, $74,048.64.
305.
It's a reduction of $74,048.64.
From their original, okay.
Correct.
And
I
that would be
agree.
unanimous.
That is,
74,000.
I believe that's a unanimous vote. Was anybody in opposition? Okay, then the record's unanimous. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
How do you address the 7?
That's how we got our half tax rate too. Home, I want to go home.
Where does that number now?
It goes back into contingency.
This number is still in capital reserve. It hasn't been moved. It's still there. Amount has not been hit. So we will be capital reserve for furniture now a less amount that was originally discussed. So the difference is not going anywhere.
It's still in the town hall renovation allocation. It will be applied to the contingency.
So
To be
this is,
used or not.
right. So this is, I want to make sure that I say this today too. That once renovations are done and all contingencies are accounted for, everything's all said and done, we'll wrap this up and get the deal and all the money there split and talked about. Whatever's left, I would truly love for us to readdress those funds to discuss. Now, to discuss reallocating a portion, if not all of what's remaining to go towards a sidewalk. Not the sidewalk, the 20,000 sidewalk fund, but something to go to public work at this point to cover sidewalks. Now that we've gotten to a place where the town is responsible for sidewalks. That's what I want to say out loud.
All right, so we've finished out our agenda item 5. Let's move on to the town administrator's report
Thank
and
you,
departmental.
Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle.
I don't really have anything, just a reminder that there will be a work session of the planning commission on August 31st at 5 p.m. here, I think, here in the library regarding the comprehensive plan. And that's really all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Mary or anything regarding the departmentals in your packet? Okay, seeing none, move on to comments from the public. Anyone that would like to address the mayor and council, just name and street name, please.
Mary Podleski, Westminster Drive. I asked last time about the credit card. You still haven't been it since January 8th?
I will check on that.
No, they weren't. And also, I've spoken to you now 3 times. I've been trying to get together with you about some concerns that I've seen. And I can bring it up in public or not. And I think the best way to handle it is, personally, I would rather talk to you first. So if there would be a time that we could get together.
Sarah and I talked about that as well today to try and find a time that we can get together.
Okay.
But I think that since your questions are regarding financing and the town, I think it's best to have the finance director there, the town administrator, and myself.
I'm going to disagree with that because
Maybe it's better here in the public setting.
Okay, because what I'm bringing to you are concerns that I'm seeing, like in credit card charges and checks that are written, and a consistency of okay, I'll bring it up. Things like numerous charges at Amazon. We got Walmart, Target, BJ, Sam's Club. I could keep going on for a while. Coastal Hospice Thrift Shop. Just things that I think need to be addressed and need to be looked at. And that's just in some of the credit cards. And I only took about 4 to 5 months of them and averaged things out. I noticed things like where there were a lot of expenses, which I'm not, and as I said, I know I brought this up before, like as far as meals out. It's on the low side, we're looking at least $1,300 a month, and that's on the low side. And I'm all in favor of staff, if it's really hot, if it's really cold, if there's something going on, absolutely. But in the credit cards that I've seen, it's a weekly thing. So
just for clarity, there's nothing that's charged out with public dollars and like taxpayer funds that shouldn't be able to be talked about here.
Okay.
So
perfect.
Everything, in my opinion, is open game. That's why we print the check registers. That's why we print the credit card receipts.
Well, okay.
So, but hold on. That's the reason they were never in the packets before. So that's the reason that they're here and available to the public is because they're public dollars. There's nothing that's taboo for us to discuss.
Okay, some more concern is that when you say that they're printed out, they're in public. The June 8th meeting, there was a check run that wasn't included in the packet, and it was put in the packet on June the 11th, still dated June the 8th, but posted in the archive files that the meeting had been posted. Same thing happened with the June 22nd meeting. That didn't get posted till July 1st. It was posted in the archive files dated June 22nd.
Ask the finance director.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying these are things that I just, there's questions that I have, and as I said, I've been trying to talk to you since July.
But
what they could be legitimate, as I said,
They are legitimate.
But is there a reason that when we meet and talk that the finance director and the town administrator couldn't be privy to that information?
Well, because I think that you all are the elected officials. And if there's something going, like with Jeff Fleetwood, what was that, $1,800? And that was like a 8 month.
That was, I believe, we were closer to $20,000.
Okay, but is it?
But that's not the topic of this conversation.
Okay, say $20,000. What I've come up with is a lot more than that.
So I can assure you every single credit card transaction is supported by a receipt.
Okay.
I am personally reviewing this on a monthly basis after the 8th report processes everything.
Okay.
Also, every single credit card statement is approved by a department head.
Or by me.
Or Mary, before it goes to the finance process. So if you have a specific question on specific date or time, so what I've heard you referring that the statements are not posted on the same months. sometimes the credit card payment is made in July for purchases that made in June.
Oh, absolutely.
So obviously it's not going to be posted in June at the same time. The credit cards are going half and half.
I'm not talking.
You have a question? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I just don't want to get, I'm not talking about like a purchase. I'm talking about all the statements, the credit card statements that should have been with, should say with the June fee, the packet. It's, you know, it came out of the.
Your rate being uploaded to the website.
Absolutely. And what you all have done in the past is that they were put on the next meeting packet.
Okay.
But what happened with these, with 2 months in a row, with two in a row, was that they were put in, the files were moved into like the pack thing.
And they were all meeting that the credit cards when we go from fiscal year to fiscal year change. A split manually by transactions.
And
what was done in June will be delayed because we posted to June, and what's done in July will be delayed as well because they have to separate.
Absolutely.
But is it a question of the date or is it a question of what's been expensed and legitimate expense? Because I can pull every single transaction in the card and find it.
Okay, perfect.
And the reason that I think that it's prudent not to just meet with me, I'm not going to have all of those answers for you. So if you have the questions, it's better to make sure that like the town administrator, myself, and the finance director are there to help. Or you just go direct with her if that's what you would like.
Okay. However you want it.
She's going to have more of the information than Mary and myself.
No, I'm just questioning.
If you have a list of dates and
I've got
where they were put,
stacked.
then you can provide that as a public information act request, and we'll be happy to provide.
But also just.
But we have to have all the specifics in order to answer those questions.
But just for the public's understanding, we have built-in processes. Like if, let's just say, you think something, I'm not saying you do, but anyone in the public thinks something is going wrong or being mismanaged with taxpayer funds, right? There's a mechanism on the town website to be able to submit that. If you say it involves me, well, that tags me out, right? Then it's going to be handled by legal and somebody else. Like, that's fine. But we have processes and auditors and all those things to be able to handle it, and mechanisms for people to be able to submit that, even anonymous.
Okay. Well, no, I'm not accusing. I'm just questioning things
There's
that
nothing wrong with having a question.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with having a question.
Yeah. And as I said, and like when I talked to you, they can all be legitimate. It just seemed kind of strange, like numerous Dollar General and Amazon, all rubbish. You know. So as I said, yeah. I mean,
But Staples, Amazon, BJ's, the Dollar General are vendors that we sometimes that are purchasing soap for bathroom from Staples we go to Dollar General. Buy for $1.50 instead of a regular price. That's just an example I'm giving.
Our Staples are outsourcing, like it's more than just those. One thing we're talking about how money, and we're bantering around $16,000. That seriously, that's a drop in the bucket. When I see things like when we constantly outsource things, and an example of that is, say you take the account department, customer accounts. Back from 2022 to 2023, we outsourced it. It was on a little under $28,000. In 25 to 26, we are outsourcing just a little under $92,000. Now we still have the 3 same employees, and our payroll has gone up just in the last year of $13,000. And that doesn't include like the benefits that go up for retirement, what percentage that the residents are paying as far as like the healthcare increases and all that. So there's just all kinds of questions as to, we seem to spend a lot of money, and we're spending money like we hire people to do a job, yet we're farming these jobs out. Or like as I said, I've been trying to
Give
get
an example of, so you use customer account.
customer accounts.
Can you give an example of what you're talking about when you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be helpful for us to better understand.
All right. So in customer, okay, I'm looking at the budget.
Okay.
This is the 25-26 budget. I didn't take the one from this year. All right, so in customer accounts, we have 3 full-time employees, which we had in 22-23. Okay, our contracted services were, okay, almost $29,000. Okay, and in 25-26, our contracted services were just a little under $92,000. It was an increase from 2024 to 2025. Our contracted services in customer accounts was $44,735. It jumped over $47,000 in 1 year.
Hold on one second. Didn't we take stuff and centralize it?
Mayor, I'm just gonna let all these questions to be compiled. If you could submit public requests, I can provide all the information.
I've got
all
way
of those questions. Okay, well, you just
That's what
outline them in your request and provide those.
Like, are you gonna meet with her?
I would love to.
Mary, can you make sure you or somebody else is with Mary and Natalie?
Sure.
When that occurs, and all of your questions, maybe you guys can work through together. If it exceeds what you can handle, then maybe we'll reevaluate that, but you think you can do that in an hour?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So maybe an hour of time together and figure that out. All right, thank you. Anyone else that would like to address the public for public comment? Okay, let's move on to comments from the council. We'll start with Vice President Sorrell. Councilmember Nur.
I'll try to be brief on this. Back in May, I was contacted by a resident on Buckingham Lane, and she was concerned about the speed of certain vehicles. She was also very concerned about the large trucks that go back and forth on that road, saying they're damaging the road, making a lot of noise. Anyways, I reached out to the chief, and he agreed to put some speed monitoring devices to verify that there's no speeding issue. So he did that, and it went on for like 49 days. During that time, we had a couple vehicles in excess of 60 miles per hour, which is kind of crazy. 8 vehicles between 50 and 59, 31 between 40 and 49. Overall, it was kind of determined it's really not a speeding problem. However, there are a few people that will do that. He did, I also looped in Councilman Orris at that time. What's that? I looped in Councilman Orris because it's in his district. And what we would like to see here is possibly reducing the speed limit on Buckingham Lane from 30 to 25 and restricting truck traffic. Trucks have an alternate route. They can go out Evans Road to Ironshire. So I did email the council about this. Jack, do you want to weigh in here?
Yeah. Well, first I want to thank you for looping me in originally, and then coincidentally, like a week and a half later, I received a concern from a resident on the other side of West, from the intersection of Broad and West, about the truck traffic that is attempting to make the turn down, make the right-hand turn off of Broad onto West and going damaging their sidewalk. So, working together with Chief and with Councilmember Nur, we kind of came to this consensus, and Councilmember Nur emailed the group for consideration of making West and Buckingham a non-through truck route, which would, I'm going to let Chief kind of explain that a little bit better, but also the speed limit reduction on Buckingham Lane. I think that the overall arching theme also is that we are getting a new school. And I think that this area, everybody's concerned about speeding on West and well throughout town, but I think this is one of the areas that we can do a relatively simple solution and get it prepared for the new school traffic as well as recognize the trucks are going through a residential area part of town. Sometimes allegedly causing some issues. So I'll throw it over to Chief.
So, hold on, before the chief,
Oh,
go ahead, Vice President.
Did I understand 60 miles per hour on West Street?
And that was just a couple vehicles.
There's 2 vehicles out of 34,327.
Small percent.
So I spoke with the chief regarding the memo, and I just want, and well, the summary of the traffic report. I want to make sure I'm understanding, and I think I am, Chief, that the options for consideration are options for consideration. The chief's not advocating for any particular position on this.
Right, and there's some stuff that has to be done before we just vote on a situation like this. To start off with, the Councilperson Norris, the sidewalk that is in question, I spoke with Jimmy Turtle today, and I don't want to speak for Kenny, but I think he can validate that that sidewalk that's damaged in question is not a city sidewalk that has been constructed. It's been constructed as brick, which we've already got something planned for installing an apron. So, and that's what happens when you install equipment or you install products that are not needed for sidewalks. Very pretty, but that's why you would need bricks for the sidewalk. The second thing that I would sit back and say, understanding a couple things on this before we just start, yelling at the truck traffic. The first thing is we know of 2 companies that use those routes for truck traffic. One of them is actually delivering to that's Pepper's rides. So that is not true traffic. You have to understand that. They have property that is accessible by the roadway that's only accessible by West Road. So you do have to take that into consideration that is, they are making a delivery and they would be authorized. It would be no different than if somebody on West Road was receiving a delivery at their house that required a tractor trailer truck of some sort.
Yeah, if they were getting shingles for a new roof.
There you go.
Yeah.
So those things, just understand that. The second one that's in place here is Mount Air. And I'm not sitting back and saying in favor or not in favor for those. What I am sitting back and saying is somebody's going to have to reach out to Mount Air and let them know that we're going this route. And in turn, if they are going to do that, if we're going to make notice to Mount Air, we also have to reach out to Worcester County. The 2 roads that would be accessible to Buckingham Lane will be Evans Road, and that'll be via either Cedar or that'll be Ironshire. So they're going to have to do some kind of a placement. Their public works going to have to do some kind of a placement saying that there's no through traffic once it gets down. Not saying it can't be done, but that needs to be pushed out as well as if you're going to change restrictions on roadway. Now, speed is one thing. Speed's an easy thing that will fit. And to your request, I spoke with Jimmy a while back. Putting signage up is not a big problem. I mean, we can probably put signage up in that area. One facing one way, one facing the other. Probably overdue again. So I don't see that as being an issue. Restricting the roadway to through traffic is a little bit different. Public notification has to be made. All right. And I would recommend before you vote on such a situation that we actually allow somebody to, from Mount Air to come in and speak on our behalf, just like what we did with the trash cans tonight. On top of the enforcement on these things, we can enforce. Okay, just like with speed, we can enforce. We sent, not only do we have a automated speed monitoring device out there on Buckingham Lane, we also sent officers out there to look for speed traffic that's coming through. Of all of those, we only identified one, and it was a minor speed infraction that was very minimal. What I want to make clear is often when you change these things, what people expect is, okay, so now we're going to sit out there for 6 and 8 hours a day. I can't validate based off the data that we put in. I'm putting
an officer out there for an extended amount of time looking for a tractor trailer truck. Now, there's ways that we can go about doing that. And those ways may be finding out the delivery schedule on the grain silage that's coming through on those roads, right? So we can attempt to do that. Shy of doing that, just understand that same person's probably going to be reaching out to you on a daily basis and going, well, no truck came through. I get it. You know, when do you usually see the violations when nobody's around? You know, my wife does that to me. Where's the cop when you need? Right there. I'm sitting right here. So those things do kind of happen. I think again, I don't want to say that not to do through trucks. Those two areas, the way that I view those is you've got two schools in those areas. You've got Worcester Prep. And in 2027, we should be seeing the completion of the entryway going into Buckingham Elementary. That is going to be the new entranceway coming off of West Street, which is going to be its own problem. I can tell you already. I think you need to be very specific in your requests. If you say if you're limiting truck traffic, no through truck traffic, agree. Delivery truck traffic should still be allowed because that's going to cause you a whole different kind of problem of people sitting back and saying, oh, so now I can't receive my delivery. I can't do something that normally I can do.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Okay.
But isn't there signage available or to be created where it says like delivery is exempt?
Well, that's what I'm saying, but you have to be specific in the legislation of saying that you can say no through truck traffic except for deliveries.
I'd like to unpack a little bit from Councilmember Nur and Councilmember Orr since you spoke with the residents. I personally agree with the reduction in the speed limit because you have 30 miles an hour on Buckingham Lane, which is a very narrow road already, and West Street, right around the corner, has a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. I agree. Drop it to 25. What I can't understand is the truck traffic. So both of you could read me in on what's going on because the farms that have been there and the grain trucks that have come by have been there for a very long time.
So what's happening is because it's a narrow road and you get an 18-wheel truck rolling down that road, the wheels go off the road and it starts eroding the gravel area of the road. So there's big ruts and there's damage to the side of it. So it's both on people's lawns and
Okay. What about in turn making the street one way from, and just an idea, from West Street to Ballpark Lane? And then it makes it so that, because we're not widening that street, and every day I go to pick my child up from school, a bus and I pass. One of us has to do what you're saying. The bus usually goes to the people's yards, and I usually go over to the shoulder. We can't preclude buses, right?
Right.
So you're still going to get that wear, even though I don't think this is going to address it. So maybe looking at the traffic pattern and saying it's a very narrow road already. We've had people get hit there. Maybe it's one way from here to here.
But there are residents further down.
What do you mean?
Coming the opposite way.
Why? There's one house. One house. Or you're talking about you're saying to like drive their car to West Street versus taking South Main.
Correct.
If the objective is to help them with their frontage, maybe that's another thing that you discuss with
So
them.
let's do this. If we need to explore the truck thing, Chief said, take some time exploring it, and then fine, we do that. But at least let's get the speed reduction. Be proactive about it because the school's there.
I agree with the speed reduction. I don't really understand the truck part right this moment. I see where you're coming from, but I don't know if it's going to fix the challenge.
Well, it's the deterioration of the road, and it's the noise, it's a lot for residents.
I hear the deterioration
outside of Berlin property. We have to look after the residents.
Right, but I mean, you sell real estate, right? You came in at a perfect time. Let's say you're going to sell a house. What's one of the documents you're going to give them from the Coastal Association? You're going to give them a right to farm notice, aren't you?
Right.
And what's that thing say?
forget.
Well, you're living in an area where people farm.
Yeah.
I can summarize it for you. And guess what? That comes with airplanes sometimes that are crop dusters. That comes with farm vehicles that drive past sometimes.
So just to follow up, I had reached out to that particular resident and we have addressed this sidewalk issue. I guess they've talked to you since we've talked, but that was just the example. The overarching thing is that the large vehicle is trying to make this right turn. I'm talking about the broad west side, making this turn, which I suspect is also garbage trucks because I've seen some of them screaming down at 4:30 a.m. when I'm walking the dog down Broad. They're going somewhere. So that might not be it, but I think the fact that it's a route available is something we should.
And keeping to the point that I discussed with you and Councilperson that we discussed with you as well, is if you are going to do this on Buckingham Lane, you really need to do the same on West Road. My larger concern is actually going to be West Road. West Road is a tighter environment. All right.
West Street.
West Street. I'm sorry.
Miss Bird, you keep saying road, she keeps saying it's kind of comical.
It's wrong highway out there. But it's my larger concern on all of this is actually that in the event that we shut down through traffic to Buckingham Lane, that those vehicles would then be using West Street as through traffic, which I think it's going to be a lot worse, especially with the new entrance coming into the school. I think that's why you're going to have to do it simultaneously if you do, but just be careful when you legislate the word.
So not to be more, should we, what do you think about it, like a time? Or truck traffic?
Yeah, I can tell you, I know numerous municipalities will sit back and say, not between 7 a.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. No truck traffic through these roadways. That way, if they are delivering corn through Buckingham Lane, you know, if you're delivering that at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's probably, or 7 o'clock, like 5 o'clock in the morning, it's probably going to be a less of an impact than if you're doing it during the daytime when you have more people out there on the road. You actually do that. And again, remember what I said, when you're changing those type of limitations, you are going to have to put out public notice on this that's a responsible thing, which means you're going to find some form of either via social media that's official, not just a little new thing coming out. We're going to have to constantly post it and ensure that Mr. Gaskell can kind of walk through what those notices should be.
All right, I'll make a motion. We reduce the speed on Buckingham Lane from 30 to 25.
Post the new signage.
Post new sign.
You might, just for, you don't keep stock those. You probably have a little bit of, not saying we can't do it, I'm just saying make sure that we're managing expectations. There might be a couple of weeks to order the sign.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a couple there that are old, but if
they're 30, it says 30 on Buckingham Lane.
25 though. I think I have a couple 25s.
Okay, but we have a motion by Councilmember Mayor, second by Councilmember
You
Nichols.
want a second and Jackson fix your interview?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Second by Councilmember Morris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, let the record reflect the vote unanimous. Thank you. Any further comment?
We'll look into the truck thing.
Oh, sorry. Anything else?
That's it.
Yeah. Councilmember Nichols.
I had so many thoughts. I had lots of them, but it took a while to get to me. So I've only got 2. I don't want us to get in the weeds about this tonight, but I'd like for us in the near future, make notes, whoever makes notes. I'd like for us to talk about or discussing what smoking looks like in our parks, if it's allowed and if it's not.
It's already.
It's already.
Oh, honey.
No smoking.
Wow.
Was it,
Sure.
the thing is that
If you see it, please report it.
Yeah.
Well, let me just tell you, I'm not like my students who say stitches, fix stitches, but all I'm gonna say is we might need to put some new signage up if it's not already there, post them in all. Cause I've been in most of them this past weekend because my daughter is dating. And guess who goes on dates with her? And I see things when I'm in these parks and we need some signs, folks. Yes.
but smoking is prohibited in our town.
I thought, all right, I thought you said smoking in cars, like town
No, no,
vehicles.
no.
I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
cars.
hold on.
Town park.
No, from my daughter not being of that.
Our vehicles are not.
They're not. But as I stated, I've been in almost every park in the last couple of months supervising, and I've seen smoking, and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought this was a thing that wasn't allowed, what have you. But, and I'm not trying to add to our sign bill as
No,
far as the cost, but what I'm saying is, I don't know if they know, but they need, people are smoking in all the parks, not just one, I've seen it
Do
in
you
all.
notice it in a particular area where we can place the sign? Like
So-
pavilions?
In some parks it's pavilions, but in other parks it's everywhere. Like in one park, just Sunday after the farmers market, we were at a park and 2, 3, 4 people were standing right out by the parking lot, and their kids were playing on playground equipment, and they were just TVing and vaping and all the other. And one had an actual cigarette, and 2 had the little Puff the Magic Dragon makers. So, and it's not, and when I say this, it's not just one park. I've been in 3 of them this past weekend.
So what about focusing our signage on the pavilions and then like where the kids play areas are to start?
And you need to have them right in front of the cars, like literally, that's what I'm saying. Like parents, these 2 people, and they were probably great parents, but they were smoking right out there by the cars.
At least they were there with their kids, right?
We did allocate a little bit of money for park signage.
Yeah. But I mean, we could do better, but at least they were there with their children. Oh, God. All right. You're good, Jack? I'm good. Okay, Steve?
That was Furman Little League. Congratulations to them. I think their season came to an end today.
Oh, last I talked to Norney, they were rain delayed, but it is.
I think they lost today, but that was still fantastic. They were on ESPN today,
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. 5 o'clock, but yeah, they made us proud. I think showing them proud. That's it.
Thank you. The only thing I have is a reminder that we have from the mayor's office, Senator Van Hollen joining us on Thursday. Danielle's going to be there as well. We've got we're calling it an announcement, I think, or a visit regarding the congressionally directed spending that we received of $1.4 million for the community center. So if all of you can attend, as many of you as possible, that would be great.
At noon at the community center at 130 Flower Street, on Thursday.
There we go.
Full disclosure, I hope they like children because I'm on grandfather's duty that day. And they will be with.
We're gonna have kids from the Worcester Youth and Family Summer Program that the town sponsors that would one day be operating from the community center, so there will be other kids there as well.
All right.
And the college.
It's okay, but you're excused. That's an allowable excuse.
I want to wish Councilmember Nerd a happy birthday on the 15th.
Whoa.
You on the 3rd? I'll be on the 3rd.
25th for both of you?
Yeah,
Happy birthday, everybody. All right, comments from the press? Okay. Any others? Thank you. Got a motion by Vice President Burrell, second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor, say aye.
We're gonna rewrite the application.
Okay, she did.
Much there. Too much.